A new season is upon us. Whataburger Friday Night Stars meets Friday Night Football. High school football is back in the state of Texas, and we are with you for the first time. It's the first ever installment of Friday Night Stars, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas. I'm your host, Kyle Yeomans, alongside three of the greatest Texas football minds there have ever been assembled in one place.
Especially Heckma.
Yeah, especially Heckma. Heckma Harrison, Zachary Wolchuk, and my man Eric Chiafalo. Guys, how are we doing today?
Absolutely perfect.
Perfect.
I don't think we could be any better. It's week one. We've got Friday Night Football going on. It's the Friday Night Stars. It's the inaugural edition. I'm happy to be here with y'all. Let's get this thing rolling.
Oh, he's hype as can be.
Walchuk was literally texting me at 3 a.m. this morning. He couldn't sleep last night.
No, I've been up for literally 48 hours. Starting with Thursday night games, I have not slept.
It's better than Christmas for Walchuk.
Better than Christmas. How about you, Heckma?
I'm beside myself.
Beside yourself?
Yeah, beside
Man,
myself.
Can't even get it
Walchuk.
together.
I got Walchuk across from me. What do I do next?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Well, we've got ourselves a slew of games to get through in order to really catch things up. Of course, it's already in the middle of week one. We have started. We are underway. And, of course, live from Frisco, we've got the Ford Center just across the parking lot. But in order to really get the full effect, we're going to hit all of the games in the North Texas area and break those down. But first, guys, let's kind of talk about some of these highlighted matchups that we've had to look forward to heading into this week. Starting off with one that I think is really probably the go-to game in terms of big names and big-time programs, and that's Aledo and Denton Guyer, of course, being played up in Denton. And right now, Aledo, they're looking like that state championship team from a year ago and a championship program. What so far, and Zach, we'll start with you across the table, looking at this Aledo team, is there anybody that you can even think of that can stand up with a skill set that they have?
It's going to be tough. I mean, Aledo is a perennial power, no doubt about it. And right now, you know, I actually just got off the phone with Grayson Nolette, who's calling this game for KNTU 88.1 FM, and he basically told me Jace McClellan is running the show. Denton Guyer cannot slow him down. He's an absolute beast. Now, Guyer's a little banged up. Coming into this one, Kadrick Cobbs, they're starting running backs out for the first couple of games. Mahone, one of their big defensive tackles along the defensive line, an Oklahoma State commitment as well. He's out for the season. And they've got Eli Stowers, who's a sophomore quarterback making his first start. So it's a tough place to do it, opening up against Aledo. But head coach John Walsh for Guyer, that's what he loves to do.
Yeah.
They scrimmaged Julius Trinity a week ago. What he wants to do is start the season against elite opponents, because coming into every year, he's like, we're going to be in the playoffs. So he wants his guys battle-tested and ready to rock. So when they hit district, they've already played the best in the state.
And no one adjusts better than Walsh, but 24-0 at halftime, that's going to be a tough hole to climb out of.
It's going to be tough, but I wouldn't be surprised if Guyer comes out in the third quarter and cuts that lead in half a little bit.
Yeah, exactly right. There's a lot riding on that first week matchup, and a lot of eyes on Jace McClellan. That's a running back last year who had 1,600 yards, 28 touchdowns, and oh, by the way, he missed 7 games.
Absolute stud.
Still put up those numbers, an Oklahoma commit, and for a good reason. He's going to put some gigantic numbers. He's already got 102 yards and 2 scores.
Right.
And
First half.
We're at halftime.
Yeah,
we're at
half
halftime,
got
boys.
100 yards.
He may have a couple hundred yards there. Heckma, what is one of the matchups that we have highlighted that have really interested you? Saxy Coppell kind of guy today?
Yeah, Saxy Coppell, absolutely wonderful matchup, but not looking like one right away.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That one's not necessarily going really in that favor right now.
So Coppell right now up 21-14 on Saxy. Again, halftime resumed. Well, third quarter starts in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. You know, you look for a team like Saxy to definitely recover, but down by 7 early. So it's still, still a good game to go.
And then, Eric, I know you've been talking about this Denton-Ryan Mesquite Poteet matchup. How's that one going right over there?
Oh, yeah, Denton-Ryan right now. Well, the score for that game, let me see where that's at. Oh, 14-7. So it's they're about to kick off the third quarter here. 14-7, Denton-Ryan is up right now. But Man, Poteet, you think to yourself, wow, you'd like to come out here and really do something special in the beginning. Only putting up 7 points, but Denton Ryan, they're out here, they're throwing the ball. 136 total yards in the first half, 7 first downs. Each team has a turnover.
Eric, I'm surprised by that first quarter score. I mean, that first half score. I thought Ryan would be up by more than 14, by 7.
Yeah, no, well, they lost a lot of talent.
They did.
You guys know my feelings about Spencer Sanders. Okay, Spencer Sanders is one of my favorite players in the history of Texas high
Should have
school
started
football.
at Oklahoma State last night.
Well, he should have played last night. They played about 3 quarterbacks. I don't know why they couldn't get him in, but I got to talk to Gundy and the Mullet about that one. We'll have a talk with him later. But for Ryan, there's a lot of new faces, and it starts at quarterback for them. But I think they had a special teams touchdown. They blocked a field goal, returned that 67 yards for a touchdown. So I know Coach Hennigan and that crew, they're going to take it any way they can. 14-7 at half. I think they're going to pull away here in the second. But Poteet, we know they had a disappointing year last year. A lot of talent on that Pirate bunch. Coach Crody Groves, he's got them ready to go.
And Seth McGowan only has 10 yards rushing in the first half.
That's impressive.
Well, that defensive front for Ryan, they are the real deal.
Yeah, another guy to watch for Denton Ryan is Drew Sanders, transfer from Colleyville Heritage. Grown man, okay? Senior, but a grown man.
6'5", 211, right?
As advertised.
Yeah, my goodness.
Linebacker, tight end. Doesn't OU have them as a tight end?
OU wants him as a tight end, but he's listed as a 4-star linebacker on 24/7
With
Sports.
that body type, though, I think you can make him whatever you want. You want him to play defensive end.
He's
you want
also
him to play
listed as a
left tackle.
quarterback. He's listed as an athlete. He could go anywhere and play anywhere and be successful. But you look at the way he's been at linebacker. You think he would be a better linebacker at the college level?
I think this kid could put his hand in the ground. He could stand up. Like I said, he could run the ball. He's played running back as well.
He's got that much speed.
Exactly.
I think it's a 4.5 40.
And he's 6'5".
Oh, my goodness.
So,
That's
there you
scary.
go.
That's Eric Giafalo speed over there.
That is a matchup nightmare for anybody. Can you imagine being a high school kid right now, 6'5", 4.5 speed lining up in front of you? My goodness, what a stud that is.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to watch. Another matchup we had our eye on as well, Allen and Mesquite Horn. Let's just talk about these Allen Eagles for a little bit. How impressive have they been so far?
Gosh, my boy Weiss is already doing jump ball touchdowns, picking up pretty much right where he left off last year.
I begged you for a Theo guy. Look, guys, I'm telling you right now,
He's a stud.
Grant Tisdale and Theo Weiss are going to set records this year. Those two,
don't
it's the
blame
best
them.
quarterback
Combo.
receiver tandem in the state. Allen all over
Yeah.
Mesquite Horn right now, 26-0, and that's not something to sleep on because Jermaine Givens is a stud at quarterback for Mesquite Horn. Heck, I know that was a team you thought maybe could pull the upset.
Look, I had a lot to say before the game started. Now, not so much.
He was so confident, too. He was so
Well,
confident.
Jaguars got this.
Mesquite Horn's going to come out and put it
All
on
the
Allen
way,
in the first
just
half.
180, it's over.
And then your guy happened, basically, Theo. They pretty much have that thing locked down. They're throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, it's halftime, 26-0. I would say there would be some recovery, something they could do at halftime to come back from this, but
I don't think so.
I don't either.
3 attempts for Andrew Henry, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Look, guys, I've been living this nightmare. Mesquite Horton fans, you're not alone. All right, I'm a graduate of Plano Senior High. I'm used to getting whooped up on by the Allen Eagles.
We're 8 minutes into our first ever season of Friday Night Starts, and Zachary Wolchuk's already reliving his
he dropped
His
it.
glory
oh
days,
man, his glory days at Plano
I've
Senior
never
High.
woken up.
Walchuk was a stud out there on the gridiron.
Not so much.
You have a couple of Plano guys you're going to get to later in the show. At least one, right?
I got one.
You got one?
I got a special.
There's
You got
one
one
good
later
player
on?
in Plano this year.
Plano
and
lost
Walchuk
last
knows
night,
that guy.
but I got the guy who is going to lead them to a few more victories, hopefully down the road.
A little bit closer game in the second quarter right now, shifting gears to downtown Dallas. Arlington and the Colts trailing 22-17 against Dallas Jesuit right now. That's a close game on the road at Jesuit. Not an easy place to play. Of course, you've got Emmitt Smith's son playing there as well. He has not had a great game so far, 55 yards, 6 yards per attempt. He does not have a score yet in that ball game, and Arlington has put up 14 points in the second quarter. So the Colts have the ball right now. They're driving. They're right near the 50-yard line, so that should be an interesting one as well.
I think the highlight, though, for Jesuit has to be Kevin Schumann, the Highland Park transfer quarterback, 11 of 16, 148 yards, and 3 touchdowns so far in this one. If you're able to complement E.J. Smith with a legit quarterback in Kevin Schumann, look out.
Yeah,
the
that's gonna
Jesuit
be big.
Rangers, they can push Allen in that district this year.
And that's a Schumann who a lot of people, while at Highland Park, compared to a young Matthew Stafford. And that's pretty high praise.
That is high praise.
Especially around those parts. They love themselves some Matthew Stafford. And if they're comparing a quarterback who at the time was 8th grade freshman level to a Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's got to be the real deal, and he's looking like it right now.
Well, and Jesuits bringing back 7 starters on offense. Or excuse me, 7 starters on defense, 6 starters on offense. So you look at guys, that's an experienced bunch right there. You think they're due for a pretty solid season. And E.J. Smith running the football, that's going to be, I mean, I would expect Jesuit to have a heck of a season. They got off to a little slow start tonight, but they're already picking things up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting chills just seeing E. Smith on a stat right now. I don't know.
It's amazing. Walchuk's got an Emmitt Smith fathead in his bedroom, literally.
Is that right?
He's an Emmitt Smith freak.
I know I like this guy for a reason, man.
He's the greatest running back of all time, in my opinion. It's totally biased, but you're not going to argue me.
Hopefully,
anything
EJ
else.
I don't think
following in those footsteps.
With where we're at in that big star on the wall right behind you, Zach, I don't think we should argue
That's
at all.
acceptable. No one's going to throw in Barry Sanders or Walter Payton or some other names right now.
I'll give you a Barry Sanders, but I want to give you some Euless Trinity and Waco Midway, which is
Yeah, that's my alma mater, Waco Midway, baby.
yes,
What
sir.
a segue.
How are your boys doing? How are your boys doing over there in Waco Midway?
They're currently down 9-7 to Euless Trinity. They gave up a safety early in that game, and they're at halftime right now down in Waco.
It's a slugfest, man. 9-7 right now.
That's what we expected, though, with that game. Euless Trinity, always a defensive powerhouse. They tend to have some of the bigger bodies in the trenches, and they're really good on the defensive line.
4 all-district returners on defense.
Big time.
Over under 150 yards in the first half for Trinity.
Oh, I haven't looked at it, so that's just going to
Well,
be.
since you said that,
I
I'm
would say
saying
under.
You think under?
Yeah.
180.
What?
You're
That's a
kidding.
trick
You got
question.
me, man.
That's what Trinity does.
Wow.
They run the football.
Here's a
and
question for
that's the only way you
powerhouse.
can beat them. You got to find a way to slow down that run game.
And I was wondering with Trinity, who's going to step up at the running back position for them? Because they had a stable of 3 or 4 guys
Absolutely,
last year
last
that
year.
ended, and they're gone now. So who's going to step up? Now, the thing with them is they always have somebody, okay? But who is that somebody? Walchuk?
Tonight it's been Brandon Theus. He's got 17 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. He's averaging 8 yards a carry. So he seems to be their guy as of right now.
But this is definitely a game that you would think that Euless Trinity, with how they came in ranked before the season, this would be a runoff. You know, they'd be at least up like, Allen is right now on Mesquite Horn. Not the case, 9-7.
No, Midway's got themselves.
Don't sleep on Waco Midway.
Yeah,
Midway was in the state
Did I do
championship
that?
game
Did I
last year.
sleep on them?
A little,
I
maybe
did. I
a
got
little
slept
bit.
on them a little bit. I wasn't trying
It hurts
to.
my heart that you said that, but that's
okay,
okay.
man. You have
It's
the
fine.
opportunity when I talk Lincoln High School football. Don't worry about it.
I'll make sure
Yeah,
to
make
remember
one
that
note.
for sure. Mental note taken. One more highlighted game we'll get to and talk about. Of course, 2-time reigning state champions at the 5A level, Highland Park and the Fighting Scots leading 28-14. Rockwall, however, was down in that game. They just now scored to end the second quarter, and it's 28-14 Highland Park over Rockwall. That's a rematch from last year when Highland Park lost on the road
Unbelievable game.
to Rockwall. Outstanding game. We were actually a part of that game. 53-49 was the final score. Highland Park winning the state championship game.
And what a start for
against Manville, 53-49.
Well, and it came down to an onside kick, right?
did,
They
yeah.
didn't
Same
get it
thing.
against Rockwall. They got it in the state championship game, and I think if you ask the Scotties, they'll take that state championship.
No,
Oh, absolutely.
every single time.
What a start for Chandler Morris. First game starting for Highland Park at quarterback. 1 rush for 70 yards to start the game. Touchdown.
Well, now he's got
now he's-
91 yards.
4 attempts,
And
2
two
touchdowns.
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, what a great way to start off the season for
I got to
Morris.
say, I think out of all the games that we've been talking about and highlighted, this is the best quarterback matchup when you have
Oh,
Chandler
by
Morris,
far.
who had an offer from Clemson before he even took a snap as a starting quarterback at the varsity level. It's
incredible.
And then Jacob Clark for Rockwall, who's committed to Minnesota. And I like this Rockwall team a lot, but Jacob Clark, 2 interceptions in that first half.
Yeah, cost
Hudson Clark, I don't know if they're related, but on the opposition
not.
for Highland Park, a pick 6 to make the Scotties. I think they were up 21-0 at that point, but it seems like Rockwall's kind of found their footing and are coming back into this one just a little.
And that's one of the big things about this Rockwall team that we kind of looked at is they can put up points, but they're also going to turn the football over. And against a Highland Park team that doesn't turn the football over, a couple of those touchdowns or a couple of those interceptions, those fumbles, they're going to come back to bite you.
Now, one more thing about this Morris kid. Laser arm.
Unbelievable.
A couple of the throws that we saw a minute ago, spot on. This guy has a teardropper. He's just dropping them right in. So somebody knew something about him, especially with the quarterback they had last year. So they
John
don't have
Stephen.
a lot of John Stephen. But
Who's that guy?
I kind of threw that out there
John
lightly,
Wall.
right? You like that?
Who's that, John? I knew what you were doing there.
One of the biggest things is John Stephen. Of course, he won 2 state championships. He had an outstanding level. I'm not one of these people. I'm not going to put myself out there right now, but a lot of people say Chandler Morris is a better quarterback
Wow.
than John Stephen Jones, which is wild to think about.
Well, if he's got Clemson
Measurables.
offers before he's even started a game, I mean,
you also got to think of the lineage that he comes from. Chad
Fair
Morris,
enough.
of course, head coach at SMU
and
last
John
year.
Stephen
now
Jones
at
doesn't have
Arkansas.
any lineage to talk
Oh,
about.
no,
Not
none
at
at
all.
all, right?
Zero.
Advantage Morris there, but Morris does have the measurables.
I've never heard of a Jones before.
No, I have no idea. John Stephen, what?
Who built this place?
I think that comes down to measurables, though. Chandler Morris is
Absolutely.
how you draw it up, and,
Yeah.
and John Stephen was undersized, but he perfected the art of playing high school quarterback in the state of Texas. So those are big shoes to fill. But Chandler's having a heck of a first
And let's
down.
not forget, Highland Park does not lose football games at Highlander.
20 years since they've
Incredible.
lost a home game.
And
to a Texas football
To
team.
a Texas,
Texas
football.
football team.
Fair, no.
They did lose one game to an outside of the state team.
Well, we don't
don't count that
recognize
one, right?
No, we don't
Not
recognize
really.
If it's not Texas, it doesn't count.
Now, how
They're
many games
90
is that? 100 games, you said?
99-1. This would be number 100.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
Highland Park's
unbelievable.
going down tonight, gentlemen. I just don't.
I would probably venture
There's
to say that
something
you're
in
correct.
the water there.
Yeah.
Well, plenty of games to get to. We've got plenty of time. We'll be here until 11 o'clock tonight talking some college, or not college football, Texas
we
high
can
school
talk
football.
college
We
if
can
you
talk
want.
some
Future
college
college
football.
Friday night stars, baby. We focus on the high
Saturday
school
night
kids.
stars, that's tomorrow night. But just a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about. We're going to have some players to watch, some recruiting watch. We've also got a slew of reporters out in the field at some of these highlighted games that we just went over. We'll take some highlights from those games. We'll check in with some of those individuals and talk, see what they're seeing from the field level at a lot of these highlighted games. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with some players to watch. Friday Night Stars will continue in a moment.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
And he scored!
it even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Back here from the Star in Frisco, Whataburger Friday Night Stars, our inaugural episode as the 2018 season is underway. Talk some instant scores there in that first segment, and now we move into really a little bit of a spotlight on some of the individuals around the state of Texas. We've got some player spotlights, some recruits to watch. Really, I think we all agree on the fact that the best high school talent in the entire United States is here in the Lone Star State. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I always kind of thought it was California.
No.
No?
Not Florida either.
Ohio?
Ohio, yeah. Pennsylvania?
No.
Bama's got some
Nah,
players.
it's Texas all day, every day.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we had that straight before we got into it.
Like
but
this Allen Eagle team looks like they can take on Bama tomorrow if they wanted to.
Oh, man, they're looking really good right now. Kind of talking through throughout the weeks leading up to our show, we got a chance to kind of jot down some names and some individuals that really stood out to us in terms of players to watch in the 2018 season, but more specifically here for week one. Eric, we're going to start with you. Who are three guys that you have had jotted down, ready to go, and really excited to watch here in 2018?
Oh, man. Well, there is a plethora of talent out here.
I'm sure.
So it was fun going through the top recruits. There's some studs all over the place. But there's a common thread with my three guys. They're all defensive studs. I'm starting at Flower Mound Marcus with a 4-star outside linebacker, Marcel Brooks. This dude is an animal. He really plays with no regard for human life when he's out on the field. He crushes people. It's almost impossible not to fumble when this guy hits you. He had 12 sacks last year. He's an outside linebacker, but he's fast enough. Honestly, guys, he's fast enough to be a safety. But at 6'3", 200 pounds, and the ability to blow up to 220, 230, this dude's going to be a stud linebacker at LSU. He's an SEC kid, and by far the best player on that Flower Mound Marcus team. So he's my first guy. And I know, Walchuk, you've seen this guy play. He's a missile, man. He's just all over the place, and he is smacking people.
No, he's a heat-seeking missile, absolutely. We put him on. I remember you and I watched him together. And he is every bit of that 3-4 outside linebacker. Like, if you're going to mold a guy, Marcel Brooks is what you want. He is a mammoth off the edge, and he just causes such a problem because he's so quick. I think the one thing, if you're looking at him making that next step to the D1 level, it's hand play. He beats people off the line of scrimmage. he doesn't have to use his hands at all.
Yeah, that first step explosion with Marcel Brooks is truly like he's shot out of a cannon. It's really unbelievable. He had 12 sacks last year, so the guy gets after the quarterback, and he's an absolute stud. So Marcel Brooks, Fireman Marcus, he is my first kind of top recruit guy to watch.
Right now, that's a game we didn't get to talk about. The Marauders right now losing in the third quarter, 12-0 to Arlington Bowie. Is that a score that surprises you a little bit here?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think Fireman Marcus is a team that could try and contend for a state championship, and right now they're losing to Bowie. Bowie's really good.
No, I think Bowie is a team that is up and coming this year. They were down last year, and Arlington Bowie is a very prideful football team here in the state of Texas, and they've kind of fallen off, I think, over the recent decade. But that's an interesting week one matchup between two teams that I think that are going to be a lot better than people think.
Interesting. Who is one of the guys on your list, Zach, that you've been excited to watch?
Well, I think he's one of the best recruits in the DFW area, if not the best, and it's Brian Williams, who's a safety of Bishop Dunn. Now, a lot of people might say, what, Bishop Dunn? Who is that? Well, they play in TAPS. They're a private school team, but they are loaded with talent. In fact, one of the best players that is now going to be at Duncanville, which I think you might get to, Heckma, in a little bit. I'm not going to –
Don't you
I'm
do
not gonna
it.
say the
Don't
name.
you take him? Do it.
I'm not going to say the name, but – Bishop Dunn's just littered with talent. So Brian Williams is safety, 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's committed to Texas A&M. He's got really good instincts, and when you watch him play, you can say, yeah, that dude's going to D1. I mean, he can go wherever he wants. I know he's going to play with the Aggies and Jimbo Fisher, but he had his pick of the litter. Really good ball skills. What I like about him is he's got a knack for adjusting to make plays when the ball's in the air. If it's low, he can come down and get it. He's got really good hands, willing tackler. He can come up and run support and thump you. Covers a ton of ground. But Brian Williams is a player coming out of the state of Texas. Aggie fans would be very, very excited about this young man at the safety position.
Heckma, who you got?
Look, I got an all-everything guy.
Okay.
All right? And they have him under athlete. Okay? Marcus Beeson from Duncanville is just a dog off a leash, right? This kid can play every position on the football field, take a top off of defense, everything you want him to be, complete man-child everywhere you want him to be. The kid had 44 offers. And I have the question, like, are there 44 Division I schools? Rhetorical question, don't answer. All right?
Why are you looking at me?
I knew you were going to answer.
Why are you
Zach automatically?
He's gonna
Oh, man.
Illinois commit. This kid can literally go anywhere, write his own ticket, but a complete, I don't want to call the kid an animal, but
he's an
beastly.
animal. He's a big animal.
Beastly, and he's what every high school coach wants. I don't know how Reginald Samples, Coach Samples, keep finding these guys. He found me, and now he's got this guy.
You've got a history of
Athletes all over the place, baby.
Well, him and his brother, both from Bishop Dunn, transferred to Duncanville.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, that is why Duncanville, and I know we've been talking a lot about Allen. Heckma, you and I talked a little bit off air. I just can't pick Allen to win the state championship this year.
Because
It's
of
personal.
It's personal. It's bitterness.
Yeah, that's
It's
emotion.
bitterness.
That's based on emotion.
It's absolutely bitter. It's absolutely personal. Respect the heck out of the Allen Eagles in that program, but I just can't pick them to do it. I like Duncanville. I think Duncanville underachieved. They got knocked out earlier than they should have last year in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Samples is a heck of a head coach. That team is loaded with talent. When you add in what they've already had, watch out. I think that's a team that can win state.
That's definitely one that's going to be fun to watch. And you look, it's on both sides of the ball as well. I mean, we talked about the defensive side, but that offense has some returners as well, some skills guys that are going to be able to, like you said, take the top off of an entire defense.
Right.
You were also talking about how punching a ticket anywhere, and that's something that one guy who I'm surprised nobody's talked about yet could totally do and hasn't done just yet, and that's Jalen Catalon.
Oh, he's on my list.
Is he on your list?
Yeah, I said I had 3 defensive studs.
Okay.
Walchuk's got a safety. I got a better one. His name's Jaden Catalon.
Well, tell me about
Jalen Catalon. Well, I think bad news is he may have just got banged up in the game.
That's where I was kind of getting to. Apparently, he was taken off the field. He is still being evaluated. We don't have any updates there, but.
Well, that would be a shame because this is the 11th ranked safety in the entire nation. This guy is an absolute, I mean, literally, you can be out on the field for 5 minutes and know, okay, that is the guy that I want on my team. He's not overly tall, but he's thick, and he's a safety that comes and hits you like a linebacker. And he's sideline to sideline. The dude literally, I mean, he was the district MVP last year. He even played a little bit of quarterback.
Wasn't he a district MVP as a sophomore as well?
He was the 5A All-State Defensive Player of the Year in 2016. 16. They say they describe him as having the dog. Now, Yeomans, I don't know if you know what that means, but I know Heckman knows what having the dog means.
Absolutely.
You want that on your
Is
defense.
this DOG or DAWG?
I think it's DAWG.
Okay. Well, then that's big
Two
time.
G's. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Double G. But he
throwing
also
it down.
Who let the dogs out?
he can play nickel. He can play safety, in the box, out of the box. This dude really does it all. He's fast as heck, and he plays baseball. He's a two-sport athlete.
he is.
He's a stud baseball
He's
player
really
as
good
well.
at baseball,
I mean, the
too.
dude, literally, it seems like anything this kid does, he's a stud. I don't know if he's going to go Texas, OU. It's kind of back and forth. I think he's a Longhorn when it's all said and done. Hopefully, he remains healthy. But my goodness, is Jalen Catalon an absolute stud in the back end?
I know you're really big high on him too, Wolchuk.
Yeah, no, Jalen Catalon, he needs to stick to football. I mean, there's some players that are dual threat guys. Kyler Murray's one that comes to mind, and that's a player that I think should have stuck to baseball. He will. I mean, he's going to start this year for Oklahoma, and then he's going to start professionally in baseball. But physically, Jalen Catalon is thick. He can play any kind of position on the football field. They're playing him at DB now, and he'll probably play that in college. But if he's the best athlete on the field, and you talk to a lot of coaches, especially at the middle school level, you're going to play your best athlete at quarterback. You put him out there. If it's late in the game, if your team's down, you need a spark. Anything you need him to do, kick, punt, return. If there's a long field goal try, they'll put him back there. He'll return that to the house. He's a dude that is literally anything you need on a football field. Jalen Catalon is the other.
And when you watch him play, it's crazy to see how he literally takes the ball from people. I mean, he forces so many fumbles, and it's not like he hits him so hard the ball pops out. He literally just takes the ball from him. The guy's running, and he just takes the ball from him. I don't understand how he does it.
Ball hawk. Right,
Yeah,
that's
truly.
what he is.
Absolutely.
Completely all over the place. But it's always amazing to me how that transfers guys that play baseball and football, typically at your skill positions, quarterback, receiver, not so much safety.
Sure.
But so to see that this guy that skill transfers and he's a dog everywhere he goes, right?
He really is. He really is.
Well, that's been an interesting topic of conversation lately. What do you think about these two sport athletes? I mean, do you prefer a guy to stick to just football, or is it a deterrent if they are also? Because I know there's some coaches out there, they're going to say, hey, I don't want you to
Depends
do
on the sport.
And it depends on the school
And
as
are you
well.
talking about specifically in high school or as they go to college?
Specifically in high school.
I think in high school, man, you are young enough to where if you are blessed with the athletic ability to be able to play multiple sports and be very good at it, I think it's a case by case scenario. Some guys like Jalen, who happens to be a stud football and baseball player, why would you take that from him? And you're developing skills, like you said, that translate to other things. And I know as someone who only played one sport, I sort of regret that.
Me too. I'm the same way. I was a baseball guy growing up. I wish I would have stuck with football. I really did. And there are a lot of football coaches that will tell you, play multiple sports.
Absolutely.
Get out there, stay in shape first off, because you can work out in the offseason as much as possible, but the offseason is still the offseason. It's still not necessarily the same thing as game action, being competitive, and being able to go out there every day and be able to compete against others at a high level. And if you're not doing that, you're not getting that same type of mentality going from season to season. It's just a different case. And a lot of coaches will tell you that and think that's a big-time deal on why they are so successful elsewhere.
The truth is that in Texas now, football is year-round. You
Yeah,
got guys playing in the fall. You got guys playing 7-on-7. You got guys playing in the spring. You got guys playing all the way through the summer. So you ask yourself, when do these guys have time to participate in other sports? And so many of them, especially your bigger schools, the positions are loaded, right? And so when you have a guy like your guy who can be able to leave in the spring and go play baseball, that says a lot about the kind of talent he has.
No question, and especially early on in a guy's high school career. I mean, if you're in ninth grade and you're saying no, I just need to play one sport. Maybe as you get to that senior year, you look at things and you say, okay, you know what, football really is my sport, baseball really is my sport. But for the most part, if you're a guy that can play both and be very good at both, why not?
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. Is you've got to be able to have that type of athleticism in multiple aspects, and things do carry over. And a lot of coaches will think that. I totally get what you're saying, though. Texas high school football, it never stops. It's year-round. And even when you're playing baseball, those football coaches kind of keep up on you.
You still got football duties.
Oh, you still got football duties to take care of, for sure. Of course, we'll talk about some more individual players later on. We'll go through some of those different guys. But let's go through some of last night's games. There were Thursday night games. Of course, we're Friday night stars, but Thursday night gets his time too.
Absolutely.
And we'll start off. Heckma, I know you were keeping up with this South Lake Carroll South Grand Prairie game. What happened there?
Yeah, the South Lake game did not start the way that everyone thought, because they thought this game was going to be a complete runaway. 8-0 for the longest time, and then right at the end, South Lake runs off with a victory, 25-8 in the final. And I think this is a game that everybody in the Metroplex was kind of waiting to see, especially with all the things that was going on with South Lake in the offseason there.
New head coach, Riley Dodge.
Yeah,
exactly.
Back in action. You think that offense is going to come out firing, and they only score. Well, did they have any points at halftime last night?
No, it was at 0
points at halftime.
And in fact, it's ironic. The first touchdown of the Riley Dodge era was a defensive score. It was a pick six at the start of the second half from one of their defensive tackles.
Hey, whatever you got to do to get the momentum in your direction, right?
Absolutely.
You got to get one of those turnovers.
But it did not go the way that everyone had planned. And so I think right around the third quarter, there must have been a talk. I said, look, guys, we can't go out like this on our first game of the season. So that's when they pretty much picked it up. And for most teams, when they don't have that, I think that South Grand Prairie was obviously a warm-up game for South Lake, so they absolutely took it to them, 25-8 in the final score.
And credit to them for playing their best football in the fourth quarter. And it's the first game of the season. You're not really sure how you're going to get off, if you're going to get off to a great start. You got a new coach. Everything's kind of going crazy. And then you look at yourself at halftime, it's 0-0, okay? And there's a little bit of adversity there. And then you come out in the fourth quarter and you put up a bunch of points, you win the game. That is how you get going. These first games are so unpredictable because you're talking about high school kids, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and you don't know how they're going to react to the first game. They obviously didn't come out strong in the first half, and then fourth quarter they come take it over.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, and the Dragons got that victory, and they're a heavy favorite.
That is poetic, Wolchuk.
Right? I thought of that myself, actually.
Big time. You came up with it right there.
I'm a wordsmith.
Well, while you're talking about that, let's go ahead and keep it with some of these last night's games. Plano, Hebron, always, somehow, no matter what the talent level is, seems to be a classic. And last night was no different.
Wolchuk was tailgating before this game. He had his face, his chest was
all
painted.
maroon.
He is a
all
Plano
Oh
guy.
my goodness! He just had a sign up there that just had Allen with a big X over it.
Did you get the outcome you wanted?
No, unfortunately, for the first time.
Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, for the
we'll
first time.
work through this together.
Since 2015, Hebron knocked off my beloved Plano Wildcats. Hebron jumped out 14-0 early in the first quarter. Plano came back behind Kyron Cumbie, a name that I'll bring up a little bit later. Kyron Cumbie, a 29-yard touchdown run, a 31-yard touchdown run, got Plano back into this thing. They tied it actually at 21 in the fourth quarter, but Trajan Bridges, who is one of the best wide receivers in the state for Hebron, had a 15-yard touchdown pass from Alex Holtham late in the fourth quarter to go up 28-21. Kyron Cumbie tried to bring it on back for Plano with a 67-yard touchdown carry, but holding was the issue. Plano can't get the hold down in the PAT. They lose 28-27, so 0-1 start on the year for Plano, but a big win for Hebron.
But definitely a big win for Hebron, and that's a program that has really been itching for a little bit of success. They had that kind of success earlier in their, I guess, 2010s. When was it that they were successful? Was it late 2000s?
I think it was that 2011 season.
Okay,
really
that's what
good.
I thought. Yeah,
I think Jamal Adams was on that team. He was now with the New York Jets. So that early 2010 to 12 run, Hebron was very, very talented.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a program that's definitely been itching for something like that since those days back in 2011 with Jamal Adams and such. Some other score updates to kind of go through. Arlington Bowie now leading Flower Mound Marcus 19-0.
What? Not if Marcel Brooks has anything to say about it.
He hasn't had a whole lot to say right now. I don't have defensive statistics on here, but it's not looking good right now for the Marauders. Aledo up 34-0 on Denton Guyer right now. Of course, that is a banged-up Denton Guyer team. You kind of got to take that with a little grain of salt, don't you?
Yeah, but 44-0.
No, Aledo is amazing.
34 right now. Or is it 34?
It'll be 44 in a second.
That's true.
Oh, my goodness.
Give him 10
McClellan
minutes.
has not played in the second half.
Well, there's no need for him to. And I wonder what John Walsh is thinking. I mean, that guy is going to light in to that football team.
You kind of bring this upon yourself if you're a Walsh. You mentioned at the top of the show, he's the kind of coach that likes to challenge his team early.
Absolutely.
Non-district. You're bringing.
fair.
I mean, you're playing Aledo. sometimes this kind of thing is going to happen to you, but you just hope that it pays dividends later on in the season when you get into these more hostile environments, playoff matchups. Is this team going to be accustomed to playing these kind of teams? It's a shame. It's a shame you come out early like that and get just blasted, but hopefully they learn from it.
Yeah, definitely. So there's other games going on right now. One of those games, a big rivalry game, down in Ennis. It's Waxahachie. It's Ennis, and that's where we're going to actually go to our first reporter ever.
Oh, this is
exciting. On the Whataburger Friday Night Stars.
Battle of 287.
Nick Lampius is on the scene. Nick, what's going on in Ennis at halftime?
The quarterback for Ennis takes it himself on a 30-yard touchdown run to make it 14-8, and then Waxahachie completes a 65-yard screen pass for the touchdown. It's 21-8 at the end of the first quarter. I'll keep you updated.
Well, that was at the end of the first quarter. So halftime, a little bit different, but not necessarily. Waxahachie still up on Ennis, 28-11. The score at the half, currently at Ennis. Waxahachie, of course, that's a big-time team that has graduated a lot of talent lately, but at the same time, really that rushing game is definitely really good.
I want to go back to what you were saying just a minute ago about teams that are playing some top-level games, or the ones that I call homecoming first games, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so when you look at those programs that want to schedule those tougher games, the first game, like the Geyer game, basically building character as the season goes on, because that's the toughest you're going to see for the rest of the season as it relates to district play and in the playoffs. So there's a method to that madness when coaches do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you see a lot of these big-time first-week matchups, and we talked about it, Geyer, Aledo, Waxahachie, Ennis. That's a big-time rivalry game, even though it's not the sexiest matchup in terms of a program, in terms of history there, but they've got history together,
right?
And it makes it a top-notch game early on.
Well, it's also new head coach there with Waxahachie, John Kitna, former Dallas Cowboy, out, Todd Alexander in. And Sam Harrell, first game back as the head coach there at Ennis. What a story that is. So a rivalry game, two new coaches playing each other that have a lot of familiarity, and that one's kind of lived up to the billing. It's been a close contest all the way through, and really talented teams. I think both those squads can make some noise. Waxahachie last year got off to that rock-heavy start, 5-0, 6-0, something like that. Then I think they lost 5 out of the last 6 games, missed the playoffs. So the Indians trying to outperform what they did last season.
Yeah, and Ennis getting off to a slow start offensively, I think that was sort of to be expected, because you talk about a team that's been running the wing T. Like your grandpa's offense is what they're running. And now Harrell comes in and they're back to 2018 style running guns, spreading things out, throwing the ball. That is a dramatic difference. So when you talk about where that Ennis offense is in week 1 compared to where they're going to be in week 5, week 8, week 10, it's going to be, hopefully, you would think, a dramatic difference.
Yeah.
But not too much of a surprise that they're struggling early.
Yeah, definitely not. Denton Ryan currently up on Mesquite Poteet. That's at the start of the fourth quarter. Ryan leading that one 21-7. Close game. DeSoto, Odessa Permian, 21-20. At the end of the third quarter, Permian mojo going on out there in West Texas.
And that's a one, you'll look at that, DeSoto traveling all the way to play Odessa Permian, that one. And that's a similar situation. 2 powerhouse schools. If you're going to play in the playoffs, you've got to make that drive. DeSoto's getting used to that right now, and that's another team. New head coach, last year underperformed, coming back 2 years ago, won a state championship with Sean Robinson, who's now the starting quarterback at TCU. But, yeah, Permian got down early, and that mojo, like you said, they're coming back. That's a heck of a football
and
game.
they're doing it running the ball. They're down early, but
that's
they commit
the
to
way.
That's 275 rushing yards right now.
That's really big. That's really big. We talked about the great story with Ennis. We've got a great story coming up later in the show. I got a chance to talk and spend a little bit of time with Daniel Mayberry, head coach at Mansfield. His Mansfield squad currently down to Broken Arrow, probably the top team in Oklahoma, 28-6 right now. We'll talk about that package later on. But right now, one more game we do have to get to from last night. McKinney North and McKinney opening up of a gorgeous new stadium. Eric, I don't know if you paid attention to that game at all. Big time. How much money was spent on that stadium?
Pretty much $70 million.
Oh my!
And we've got a reporter, Zach Babb, who's out there at that stadium now for McKinney Boyd and Rowlett. So we're hoping post game we
get a
can kind of
chance.
get a vibe for him of what it was like at that new
Nice.
stadium, what was going down in that game.
It really is a gorgeous, gorgeous place. But tell us about that game. We've got the graphics and statistics up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see it right here. I mean, 31-13, McKinney North. It got off to it was a tight game at half, 10-7, and then McKinney North just kind of blew the top off it there. They did it running the football. Hunter Shea, Emmanuel Fincher, Cameron Constantine, all these guys were running the ball.
Cameron Constantine, that guy is an absolute stud muffin. I got to see him play Highland Park last year in the playoffs before they got knocked out. Cameron Constantine's a special player.
Well, he had an efficient game besides the one interception, 10 for 13, but only 122 yards, 1 touchdown. So it wasn't a stat-heavy night for Cameron.
On the ground. That's where he's
on the ground.
his...
On the ground, 11 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Dual threat, man. That is so tough for a defense.
Yeah, that inaugural game at McKinney Stadium, McKinney North taking the win, 31-13. I know, heck, did you ever get a chance to open up a stadium like that?
No.
Never got a chance?
I don't think anybody has.
$70 million not in
Well,
my
okay,
life.
how about just a new stadium in general?
No.
Never played an inaugural game?
No.
That's
It
something.
was already established by the time I got there.
See, that's something special, though. Being able to open up a stadium like that. That's something that those, even if you're on the McKinney side and you lost that game, something you'll never forget. Being the first ones to be able to get on that turf and play in a gorgeous stadium.
An
like
amazing stadium.
Yeah.
I can't believe they built that for high school.
Oh, my goodness. It is unbelievable. Well, a lot to get to. We've got to catch up on some of these scores. After the break, we're going to run down actually each division in North Texas. We're actually going to give a live look into the Ford Center just across the parking lot as well. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break. Friday Night Stars will continue in a moment.
Relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players, to run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age,
we worked for And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway. It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the #2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Week 1 of the 2018 high school football season. Whataburger Friday Night Stars. First ever episode. Kyle Yeomans alongside Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Outstanding night to kind of review high school football, go through some scores, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. In just a moment, we'll go live to the Ford Center for a couple of plays to kind of watch Lebanon Trail and Southwest High School kind of battle it out. They're in a tight game right now, 21-14. Southwest is about to get the ball back. Actually, let's go ahead and cut in because we've got ourselves a pretty good game right now. That ball just punted away, now to the 50-yard line, was back in the end zone. The snap went over the head of the punter, and he was able to regather it in and then punt it away. A clutch player or a clutch play by that punter right
Punters
there.
Punters are people too, man.
Punters are people too, and that would have potentially tied the game for Southwest. But we'll get back to this game here in just a little bit. You see there, 10:07 left in the fourth quarter. That's just across the parking lot. But before we get back to the live look in there and see if Southwest could potentially come back in that ball game, let's go through some of the scores right now, starting with 6A. Zach, what's going on at the 6A level?
Well, the Bearcats are pouring it on right now. Aledo up 40-0 on Denton. Geyer McClellan, 102 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He's not even in the game right now. Bishop, a long line of those Bishop brothers, a sophomore starting quarterback for Aledo. He's got 2 touchdown passes and 136 yards. Arlington Bowie just scored to go up 25-0 over Flower Mound Marcus and the
My
Marauders.
goodness.
Yeah, those struggles continue. Birdville up 31-14 on Keller Central. DeSoto just kicked a field goal in Odessa. They're up 31-20 over Permian. Frisco Liberty up 10-7 on North Garland. Frisco Reedy. Now, there's about 10 different Frisco schools. So we have to get ready to say Frisco this, Frisco that. They're up 46-7 on Plano West. Plano West looking to win their first game. In the last 13 they've played, they went 0-10 a year ago. So
Yikes.
West will they'll have to wait another week to get off the schneid there. Keller Fossil Ridge up 14-7 on Flower Mound. Broken Arrow, Mansfield going up to Oklahoma to take them on. They're down 28-6. We'll have more from Mansfield coming up in a moment. Lake Ridge, another Mansfield school up in Tulsa Union. One of those big-time powers at Oklahoma.
That's a really good Tulsa Union squad.
And
But
Lake Ridge just scored to go up 30-28 on the road there in Oklahoma.
One of the big things, Broken Arrow defeated Tulsa Union last week 33-10 in their first matchup of the season. So that Broken Arrow squad that Mansfield is taking on right now, no slouch.
Sure.
However, Tulsa Union, also a very good team. Lake Ridge is definitely got their hands full, but are currently on top.
I love this OU, or not OU, but Oklahoma, Texas sort of high school rivalry.
Yeah, it's the battle of the border, baby.
It's pretty awesome.
I'll tell you what, Oklahoma's gotten a lot better because of it. You used to just have really Tulsa, Union, and Jenks. Now you've got Broken Arrow stepping up. I think Oklahoma's risen to the occasion. 5 years ago when this thing kind of started, Texas would go up there and whoop up on them. Now you're starting to see a lot more even football being played between those two states. Allen, 40-0. They just scored again up on Mesquite Horn. Northwest Eaton, a new school, third year here playing varsity at the 6A level. Keep an eye on them. Titus Swen, one of my favorite running backs here in the area, 34-3. They are up on Fort Worth.
Maybe one of the fastest kids out there right
Titus Swin.
Yeah.
Titus Swin.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, he's my guy. We'll get to him in a little bit.
Everybody's your guy. Don't you know everybody's Walchuk guy?
He's taking them all.
I've claimed them. All right, they're all mine. No, you can have Jalen Cattle on. That's fine.
Oh, I got him.
Yeah, he's a good one to have. 55.
I got Marcel Brooks too.
No, you got Marcel Brooks. Well, this team's getting spanked right now. Irving Nimitz, 55-21. They're up on Richardson. Rowlett, 38-14, up on McKinney Boyd. Coppell and Saxe. This one of the better games going right now. 24-21. Coppell up on Saxe. Saxe's got the ball. Coppell has the ball. They're looking to score again. Arlington and Jesuit. Arlington up 31-22 in the third quarter on Jesuit. Another one we will keep our eyes on. Yes, it is. Arlington Sam Houston down to North Mesquite 9-6. Austin Lake Travis and Arlington Martin. Two powers. Lake Travis losing in the state title game to Allen. Arlington Martin, perennial playoff contender. Lake Travis up 20-14. They're in the red zone right now trying to punch in another score.
Martin is replacing 14 players who went on to play college ball.
Wow,
so,
that's huge.
Golly, that's a lot of guys to replace. And both of these schools are coming off losses. The last time they played, they both each lost to Allen. So there's another Allen.
There's a theme going
here.
It's
a theme, baby.
Everybody loses to Allen.
Yeah.
Euless Trinity, 37-7 up on Waco Midway. They're starting to flex their muscles. J.J. Pierce up 24-17 on Frisco Independence. Frisco Lone Star, another team to look out for here, 21-0. They're playing Richland. Now, Lone Star's a 5A school playing up against Richland in 6A. Greenville up 41-6 on W.T. White. And then Plano East, 40-16 over Hearst LD Bell. And another game we're keeping an eye on, Duncanville. My state title pick, 27-0. They're up on Lancaster.
Wow, okay. That's a good Lancaster team
game.
too.
And Lancaster, they have a ton of talent, very athletic. Grand Prairie 21-14 up on Louisville. Lake Highlands and Mesquite are in a battle. Lake Highlands in the red zone now, trying to go up. They're down 28-24 as we speak. And folks, quick update: Rockwall, Highland Park.
Yep.
Tied at 28. In the third quarter, Rockwall has stormed back. They're in the red zone looking to punch it in.
Are you serious?
Right now.
28-28 right now. Rockwall has stormed back.
Wow.
And are tied with the Scotties.
That's a game we're going to have to try and get something into. I know that we hopefully have some capabilities to get some highlights from that one later on.
We counted 100 too fast, didn't we?
Yeah, we might have did. Yeah.
The Colony up on North Crowley, 28-21. Arlington Lamar up on Trophy Club. Byron Nelson, bit of a surprise there. Byron Nelson, not a bad squad, 42-17. Cedar Hill, another
I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
Rockwall just scored 38-34. Rockwall and the Yellow Jackets have taken the lead.
Can they knock off Highland Park in Highlander?
Oh, my goodness. That was a 21-0 game early on.
Hey, I wouldn't want to talk to Coach Randy Allen after that one.
Not at all.
If they lose that game. Cedar Hill up 50-0 on John Tyler right now. That's a big-time score for that squad. And then we've got Waxahachie and Ennis. Waxahachie, the Indians, up 35-18, and that's kind of your 6A breakdown as we speak.
My goodness. Rockwall, 34.
Rockwall, Highland
kicking
Park,
a field goal or kicking a PAT right now.
And Arlington Jesuit. I mean, those are the two games I think you've got to be glued into. Lake Travis and Martin as well, also very, very close. And Saxe Coppell, you've got a battle going on there. So this is where it's at. We're getting into the fourth quarter. Some of these early kickoff games. Magic is happening.
Zach, your boy Jacob Clark's finally coming alive. 16 for 20, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Hey, did you know Jacob Clark's one of my guys?
Oh, yeah. Well, I could assume that.
My guy.
You just threw him to him. You just gave him over. Here you go. We got another guy for you. And that is amazing. You know, when we first started watching the Highland Park game, it looked like it was going to be a runaway.
Yeah.
Right away. So it's amazing the adjustment that the Rockwall, team made because they came storming back.
Yellow Jackets are alive and well right now.
That Coppell game, that's an unbelievable game as well. In Saxe, a team with a lot of athleticism on that squad as well. Coppell at home, that's another team that doesn't necessarily lose at home. but is also a team that's kind of been having a lot of question marks around that program, and hopefully they can figure some things out on their end.
I mean, the guy, Coppell's running back, the Hurt kid, Ryan Hurt, absolutely amazing. Some of their big kids up front, Odette, their defensive lineman, complete stud, 6'3", 250-pound kid. So definitely Coppell has all it takes to be pretty good in Texas this year.
Yeah, definitely so.
Seven returning starters on offense for Coppell as well. But then you look at Saxey, and they have a very deep defense, led by Hunter Spears, Notre Dame commit, defensive lineman,
who's
absolute
Hunter Spears?
monster. Oh, he's one of my guys. He's one of my guys. You dang right he is. He can turn on the tape of that guy. That dude just swallows offensive linemen.
He swallows offensive linemen.
Yes, that's
he
what
just
I'm saying.
eats them.
And running backs.
He's not that big of a guy, though, if I remember, Hunter. And he missed last year due to injury, I think.
He did. But he's bigger than you think. I mean, he's a grown man, 6'4", 280. He's a little bigger than you, Walchuk.
Wow.
Just a little bit. He's got the height.
Definitely. I'm watching
You're
this.
locked into this Lebanon
watching
Trail.
this Lebanon Trail game.
Southwest game.
Yeah, big time punt return again. He's still on his feet running right now, and then finally taken down right around the 32-yard line. Southwest has the ball back, 5.5 minutes remaining in that game just across the parking lot. Eric Chiafalo, give us some 5A rundowns. What's going on at that level? A lot of games we've already talked about because of the 6A, 5A crossover.
So I was going to say, Walchuk stole my thunder on a lot of these. But we got Birdville, Keller Central. They're in the fourth quarter. Birdville's up 31-14. Salina is putting it on Frisco Memorial. Walchuk mentioned there's a ton of Frisco teams, and they are all right down the street from us right now. Salina's putting it on them pretty good. Denton Ryan, 28-7 on Poteet. I know we were talking about that game earlier. Denton Ryan looks like they are picking up where they left off a little bit. Frisco Lebanon, we already talked about that one, 21-14. That's happening right here behind us at the Ford Center. Frisco Liberty's down 17-35 to North Garland. Just not a good night for Frisco in general. It doesn't seem to be.
Well, Frisco Reedy's there, 46-14.
Well, okay, fair enough. Frisco Reedy's putting it on.
Lone Star's going to hold it down.
Lone Star's
the school that has a legitimate chance from Frisco to make
a lot of athletes at Lone Star.
I know we've talked about each of your alma maters today. Justin Northwest happens to be mine. They are up 27-26.
You might be the only one with an alma mater that wins today.
Hopefully so. Let's see here. Who else we got? Midlothian's putting it on Carrollton Creekview, 40-0. Fort Worth Trimble Tech, 13-0 on Carrollton Turner. And then we got Fort Worth OD Wyatt is down 13-20 to Seagoville. Frisco Centennial, 13-6 over Royce City. So there's some Frisco love there. Frisco Independence is down by a touchdown, 24-17 to Richardson Pierce. That game is also in the fourth quarter. Frisco Lone Star, Walchuk, you mentioned 28-0 on Richland right now. So, and then Duncanville Lancaster. Duncanville is, they are everything we thought they were going to be, 27-0. Lancaster can't even put up a point at this point. And then we got Jenks, Oklahoma is beating Mansfield Legacy 21-14. That's the game that I got my boy Jalen Catalan in. Hopefully, we haven't gotten word on him, have we? I mean,
nothing official yet. Still trying to look and see if we can get some eyes on it.
Hopefully he's okay, but his team is down by a touchdown right now. Richardson Berkner's up 15-10 on Forney, and then obviously we got that Rockwall Highland Park game. That is 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Rockwall's up a touchdown. So we got quite a few matchups going on right now. Sulphur Springs is beating Frisco Wakeland 37-21. The Colony is up 35-21 on North Crowley. And that's pretty much the main deal there. Waxahachie and Ennis, that's 35-25. Waxahachie's up, 4:30 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, a lot of time left in that one to make something happen. What was that?
Update in DeSoto, Odessa, Permian. Permian scored. They're just down 3 now, 31-28. DeSoto with the ball near midfield, trying to run out this clock with 3:27 left to go in the fourth quarter.
Not a lot of time left in that game. And I do want to go to, I know, Heckman, I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit here.
Steal it.
Have you seen the Lincoln score yet?
Hey.
Have you seen it?
What?
No.
Come on,
do you want to see it?
I don't. No, I haven't seen it, and do not tell me.
He's DVRing the game. You don't have to go back and watch it.
Is it? I don't like that grin. All
Don't like
right,
it?
so I'm going to start with my 4A highlights right now.
Okay, you go for it. I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I got Melissa's 35-17 over Argyle Liberty Christian. I'm not going to cross over some of these games. You guys have already taken my thunder on some of these games already. Kennedale is 41-7 over Decatur. And let's see who else we got here. Life Waxahachie 39-19 over Ferris. And oh my God, first the Fat Boys breakup and now this.
There it is.
Jeez,
He found it.
Louise.
Uh-oh.
Lincoln's
What
up
is
big, right?
Oh my God. 31-2. Lincoln is losing 31-0 to Wilbur Hutchinson.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for saving that. That was
I'm
very
sorry.
suspenseful. I was looking at like, come on, we got to be winning, and no, we are not.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. And so Mineral Wells is up 24-13 over Carrollton Ranch View. And guys, that's the 4A rundown.
Yeah, 4A rundown, a little bit other than that. Let's go ahead and quickly go to the Ford Center as it looks like Lebanon Trail got into the end zone. They forced a turnover, an interception by that man right there. He's the punter. He's also the quarterback, and he plays defense as well. The man can do it all, and he's made a couple big-time plays. That time he walks into the end zone for the score. 2:52 left in the game, and that one might have just iced it for Lebanon Trail, and the Trailblazers getting it done at the Ford Center. Big-time game across the way, and there's going to be a lot of those here at the Star over the next couple of weeks.
I think we got an update.
We've got big-time things happening with
no.
Rockwall and Highland Park.
Tell me about it. Give it to us.
Oh, my goodness. We got some ping-pong action happening in this third quarter. Anthony Orji, a name you need to remember for Rockwall, an outstanding defensive player, one of the best defensive players in the state, took a 91-yard interception, returned it to the house, gave Rockwall their first lead of the game, 35-28. Highland Park comes right back. Chandler Morris, 16-yard touchdown pass to junior wide receiver Drew Scott. It's all tied at 35 from Highlander.
Feels like such a long time ago that Highland Park was up 21-0.
It really does. Seems like almost as long ago as they had won a championship. That's an outstanding game. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with some more updates. There might be 3 more touchdowns scored in that game by the time we come back. But when we do come back, we've been alluding to it a little bit. Mansfield and their head coach, Daniel Mayberry, an outstanding story. You don't want to miss it, as Whataburger Stars will return here in just a little bit.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway, it even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
About Friday Night Football in Texas is it's really bigger than life the majority of the time, and there are a lot of ways and stories around the state of Texas that really bring the Lone Star State together, and one of those common areas is high school football for sure. Welcome back to Friday Night Stars, sponsored by Whataburger, here live from the Frisco Star. I got a chance this week to catch up with Daniel Mayberry. He's the head coach at Mansfield High School. He's been there since 2016 and really an outstanding individual. We'll talk about it a little bit after, but I'm going to let the story tell itself because it really is something special.
There was a few times where I think, man, I might not be able to be there. I'm sitting there telling my kids all the time, you got to fight through adversity, you got to respond the right way. And, when that happened to me, because I had adversity hit me right in the face, I had to respond in the right way and have my mindset in the right place.
In Mansfield, Texas, high school football will forever be king. But for head coach Daniel Mayberry, before the glory comes the grind. Coach Mayberry has been on the Tigers coaching staff since 2002 and was promoted to head coach in 2016.
A few years ago, I was voted best coach in Mansfield here. This is the first victory I ever had as a head coach. That was against Summit.
Since taking over, Mayberry and the Tigers have won back-to-back district championships en route to 2 playoff appearances. However, like a big hit in the open field, Mayberry's momentum in life turned just how it can on the gridiron. After feeling weak one day in early January, Mayberry went in for a checkup when a bone marrow biopsy revealed stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, an incurable condition. Coach Mayberry, his wife Cammie, along with their 2 daughters, were shaken.
You know, my oldest, when we told her that, I mean, it felt like she hugged me for an hour, you know. And it was really at that moment in time that I realized the impact that it had on them, you know, because when you're going through some of that, sometimes you can be self-centered and just thinking about yourself, but, man, it impacted all of us.
After starting treatment, Mayberry had to undergo a blood transfusion every week just to receive chemotherapy.
During that time period, I probably had about 15 blood transfusions, but for whatever reason, my body still wasn't producing hemoglobin. And so it was pretty discouraging there for a while. Try to be positive and upbeat, you know, but every once in a while, you have some moments where you're like, I don't think I'm ever getting better.
But it didn't take long for the community to rally around their head coach.
Chuck Pagano sent me this book, autographed it and everything, and wrote me a little letter. But so, man, I mean, how awesome is that? I was amazed on how when I started getting those low spots, somebody seemed to always call at the right time just to pick me up.
A GoFundMe page raised over $83,000 for the Mayberry family to help with medical costs and treatment.
I'm so thankful to God for allowing me to be here. I'm so thankful for the community for how they supported me. I'm so thankful to have a beautiful, loving wife that was there for me the whole entire time. And really, I was just really felt truly blessed.
With the immense support and a lot of faith, just 6 months after his original diagnosis, Daniel Mayberry was cancer-free.
It was right before spring ball. We changed my treatments and we started doing a chemotherapy. And immediately when we started the chemotherapy, my body just started to respond. I started feeling better, and you know, I could have energy. You know, I felt myself progressively getting better. And I'll always have lymphoma. I mean, it's just not curable, but I'm cancer-free as the moment.
Back at practice and back on the sidelines are exactly where Coach Mayberry wants to be, but this time around, he has a whole new perspective.
One of the cool things is in the summer, we went out to the stadium and we ran bleachers, and you know, I said, hey, you know, in case you hadn't heard, and you know, I told them, and the joy that they showed, and just the excitement for me, and the love that they gave me, man, it was awesome, bringing tears to my eyes, because I mean, I love these guys, and just to have the opportunity to share that with them was unbelievable. And one of the reasons why I love the game of football is it mimics life. And you know, the thing that football throws at you on a daily basis is adversity, and how you respond to adversity really defines you as a person. You know, it's real easy to be happy and when everything's going well. It's real hard to find joy when things aren't. It's not always going to be perfect. You're going to have some bad times, but how you respond to that's going to define you as a person. You know, just to have the opportunity to do this. I mean, I really think I have the greatest job in the world. And getting to coach the game of football and spend time with these kids and these coaches, and so, man, it's really awesome. And I know that sounds silly, but man, I'm so excited to be able to have that opportunity and be on that sideline.
Definitely one of the stories of this new season of Friday Night Football and Friday Night Stars, and being able to kind of spend some time around Coach Mayberry. He was at practice, and even before I had a chance to speak to him in person, he was out on the field, and I could hear him from the sidelines when I was filming some of those highlights. And one of the big things that he was saying is put the team before yourself. Put others before yourself. That's the only way you're going to be successful, and that's It first off, it was just kind of, it was nice to see that, because you see the product on Friday nights. You don't necessarily see the grind and the hard work that's put into it. And then you also don't normally, I know I'm guilty of this, but you don't normally see the human side of it as well. And that's exactly what Coach Mayberry brings to the table. An outstanding story. I know you were talking about how it's just it was a miracle almost. Faith family football is kind of what was definitely highlighted there.
Yeah, I have a cousin that is also a cancer survivor, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma as well. And those blood transfusions that he's talking about, those 15 or so, those are painful procedures that they have to go through to get that, and also to find someone, to even be blessed to find someone that would be a donor is also big. I mean, that's a story all in itself. But like you said, that it definitely humanizes coaches that you think, I mean, these are these big guys and they're leading these teams, but they deal with human issues just like we deal with in the part where he said, you know, how it affected his daughter. I just thought that was an amazing story. First of all, that was great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
thanks, Cal.
Awesome. You're a jerk for getting me choked up on a Friday night.
Right?
Like, my goodness.
I didn't come in here for that.
I didn't come here to cry. But man, what a story! And it just shows you what high school football can do, bringing a community together. I mean, you see they did a GoFundMe for him. The whole community coming together to help, you know, take care of some of those treatment costs that you know are ridiculously expensive.
Absolutely.
And then it really draws. I mean, how fun is that for those guys now to be out on the field together tonight? They all know what they've gone through. This isn't the typical off season of a football team. Week one's always exciting, but for a team like that and a guy like that and a community like that, man, that is just incredible stuff.
I don't know if you knew this, but Coach Mayberry is one of my guys.
Oh, is he? Oh, of course we knew that.
I'll tell you what.
We're going to start just bringing a list. Woolchuck's guys, Chiafalo's guys,
everybody else's guys.
I got two.
My guys. No, but that's an incredible story, Kyle. Honestly, when I saw that, and I think there was something I saw on Twitter about him his first day of practice, and I was like, guys, this is a story that we should follow up on.
Yeah.
You did an awesome job with that package. Unfortunately, Mansfield, it's final. They lost today 28-6, but they won big time getting their head coach back on the sidelines.
Yeah, definitely. So a couple more final scores we can get through, guys. One of those, Saxe losing to Coppell.
That game, I don't know what has happened in the final 21 seconds of that game.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Miles Nash, with 21 seconds left, had a 3-yard touchdown run to make it 28-27.
Saxe's up.
Saxe is up.
Right.
Coppell takes a really long return back, and Caden Davis. We talked about it in the open, Zach. Kickers are people too.
Yes, they are.
57-yard field goal to win it as time expires.
A high school kicker.
As a high school
kicker. That is unheard of.
Oh, my goodness. We have Jason Thomas on the field at that game. We're going to try and get a hold of Jason here in just a little bit so he can talk through the emotion of what just happened. But holy cow, what a way.
57 yards.
57, that's what it says right here. 57-yard
it had to be the
field
square
goals.
toe shoe that he kicked.
My
Who do we have
goodness.
waiting for us here? Jason Thomas?
Jason Thomas. He's a friend of mine.
He's being revived right now, and then he'll join us after that heart attack. The craziness that just took place out there.
Oh,
my goodness. I was just telling you guys, there's 20 seconds left. Saxe takes the lead. Wow, it's a shame for Coppell. They had the lead most of the game. They lose it. And Coppell, in the final 20 seconds, Caden Davis, you stud.
What
wow.
a beast. We've got a couple other finals. Denton Ryan, 28-14. They hold off. They beat Poteet. Ian Hennigan in his first game at the starting quarterback position for Denton Ryan, taking over for Spencer Sanders. 12 of 20, 83 yards, a touchdown. Nothing crazy, but he got the job done. DeSoto does beat Permian, 38-28. They get a late field goal to ice that one. And Allen also a final now 40-0. They go ahead and shut out Mesquite Horn.
Heckma called it, man.
Wow.
Heckma knew it. No, but this is Caden Davis's night. I mean, really, we could dedicate the next however long we have for the show and give this to Caden Davis. Caden, if you're listening, I know you are, bro. Whataburger's on me tonight, Caden.
What a player of the night, Caden
How about
Davis.
this? Let's open it up.
Triple meat, triple cheese, honey butter chicken biscuit. That's on me tonight.
I'm almost certain that Caden Davis is not watching Whataburger Friday Night Stars right now because he's living it up at a Whataburger nearby. But 217-872-2102. Call that number now, please.
You think that's the first time a kicker's been carried off the field?
No.
I guarantee
I
you.
don't
It's
think so.
definitely not the first time. Definitely not the
Caden
first
Davis
time.
is being carried
I don't
off
know
the
what
field
football
right
you've
now.
been watching for your
Now, maybe
22
it's the first
years of
time
life.
somebody named Caden Davis.
Yes. 57
that
yards.
guy's been carried out.
Did he just break a record?
For high school, that's a good question.
That has to be a high school record of some
57
sort.
yards has to be.
No, I mean, my
I can try and
goodness.
look it up, but that's an unbelievable.
Walchuk can't even throw the ball 57 yards.
I'll tell you what, misery loves company, and I want to tell you that Euless Trinity is beating Waco Midway 37-7.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, in my pick'ems at work, I scored, or I chose Trinity, so I guess I'm technically not always a homer in that facet.
Well, yeah.
That's weak sauce, Yeomans.
Sorry. Hey, I'm trying to win the pick 'em. I'm sorry.
Stick
I
to
love
your
my
guys.
There's
Cal.
something about school pride, and doesn't
I
look
just
like you
didn't
have it.
have it.
Got none.
Well, yeah, I was right.
Highland Park's back on top of Rockwall, 42-35 as well in the fourth quarter. That one, fourth quarter just got underway.
What the heck happened at Jesuit tonight, gentlemen? I mean, we were all high on them coming into the game.
Well, Jesuit, I think, was high on themselves. They were feeling it early, and all of a sudden, Arlington
woke up.
45 to 22.
That's a really good. That's a really, really good team with Arlington and the Colts. But we were talking about this Coppell matchup, and Saxe taking the lead with 20 seconds left. Coppell with a big-time field goal. We've got Jason Thomas on the line. Jason, first off, are you okay? Are you breathing after that matchup?
I could barely even make it across the field. The kids stormed the field as the Cowboys came up with 1 second left on the clock and kicked a 60-yard field goal to win. It's in regulation.
Wow. And you're okay. We don't need to call anybody.
I'm okay, but the energy is ecstatic over here at Buddy Eccles Field.
Well, tell us what happened. What was the lead up to what really ended up being an unbelievable kick from Caden Davis? And that's a Coppell program that has had some issues kicking in the past. Well, Davis kind of threw all that away and showed once again why he's one of the top kickers in the state.
Yeah, in the second half, both teams didn't do too much, but they left their best for the last few minutes. The Mustangs drove 80 yards with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it looked like it was over. The wind was out in the stadium. The fans were disappointed, but here they come, the Cowboys chipping away 5 yards, 10 yards with 30 seconds left on the clock. And then with 1 second, like I said, a 60-yard field goal right down the middle, and the place erupted right after that.
That's unbelievable.
An incredible finish. What were some of the players that stuck out to you in this win here for Coppell here tonight?
Well, it seemed like the defense did a pretty good job throughout the whole game and coming up with turnovers. I mean, the Cowboys themselves had I think 3 picks or 2 fumbles and a pick. So the overall defense, I think, would be the player of the game, if you might say, for the team. But overall, a great job by the offense and the defense and the coaching staff to put a plan together to give us a Friday night thriller.
Was Caden Davis carried off of the field? That's all we need to know.
To be honest with you, all I saw was a sea of red, and even right now, 10 minutes after the game is over, the field is pouring with parents and students and teammates. They're just all jumping around. I don't even know if Caden made it out alive.
Oh, no.
That's a great way to go out, though, huh?
I guess you're right.
I got some great footage for you guys. We'll send it to you so you guys can watch it a little bit later on.
Perfect. Who won the Battle of the Bands tonight? Who is better, Saxe or Coppell?
Man, you know what? To be honest with you, I think Saxe brought the energy a little bit more than the home band. I mean, it seemed like the band was just killing it every 90 seconds or so, and the Coppell band didn't seem to be responding as often. So I'd give the nod to the Saxe band. Way to go, team.
Wow, there you go.
Shots fired at the Coppell band.
Yeah, definitely so. Coppell did end up with the win once again, 30-28. Jason, anything else actually, I'm going to ask you one more question, but was this the best high school football game that you've ever seen?
This is the best high school football game I have ever
seen.
Wow.
Yes, that is an emphatic yes.
What a way.
With 1 second left on the clock, a 60-yard field goal, and I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know if we'll ever see it again. That's unbelievable.
Not at the high school
Outstanding
level,
game.
man.
Jason, thanks so much. Have a safe drive home and try and get out of there without getting mobbed too much by some Coppell fans there.
Get us those highlights.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Jason. Jason Thomas on the call, and wow.
And the legend grows from 57-yard field goal to 60-yard field goal.
Tomorrow to 75.
He kicked it the length of 2 mountains in a valley, baby.
And the legend grows.
Caden Davis.
Oh, man. What an unbelievable start to Friday night football. Texas high school football is back, and it is back in action. We'll be back in just a little bit. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of these highlighted matchups, update some final scores, and then tell you about some other games that are in the fourth quarter. We're live from the Star in Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys headquarters, and this is Friday Night Stars.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age,
we worked for And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway. It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Well, Friday night football is back in Texas, and my goodness, we've got some chaos around the North Texas area. Coppell with a 57-yard field goal to beat Sachse as time expired, but I don't even know if that's the craziest thing that has been going on right now in the North Texas area in terms of high school football. Highland Park, Rockwall. Right now, Highland Park leading 47-35. It's been a great game, back and forth all the way through.
42,
excuse me. 42-35 is the score there. Well, the lights have gone out at Highlander Stadium.
Turn out the lights, the party's
Like they
over.
shut the place down because they dominated so much?
The lights are no longer there. It's all off, and I'm looking at a stream at it right now. And on this stream, the entire Highland Park side of fans is blanketed in cell phone lights.
Oh, that's fishy
to
me.
illuminate the field.
That's fishy, Heckma. You know it, bro.
I'm not going to claim it.
But they're leading, though. They're winning the game.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they're leading.
It's just a matter of time.
Perfect time to end the game, bro.
The lights go out when they're leading.
They're not calling a timeout by turning off the lights while they're losing.
No.
To try and get their game plan back together.
No, they're trying
Why
to
would
end
they
the game
sabotage it if they're up by 7?
They're trying to take the victory.
I don't know, man.
9:47, close it out.
Game delay.
It's
at
an official
Highlander
game,
Stadium.
right?
It is an official game.
Well, they're in official game delay right now.
That's
I
exactly
don't know.
right. No stadium.
I'm not really sure
lights.
what the protocol is for something like that.
All right, let's get back to Highland Park in a moment.
You got to wait on it. We do have Grayson Nolet on the line. Grayson was on the call for Denton Guyer and Aledo. That was a big-time Aledo win. Grayson, first off, how good is that Bearcat squad?
Yeah, that Bearcat team, it's the first time that I've ever seen them, and it was the first time I ever caught eye of the Oklahoma commit, that running back that they've got over there, Jace McClellan.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, they dominated from start to finish. And the quarterback they've got, Bishop, actually, he had himself a pretty great game as well. And overall, Aledo they never looked like they had lost a beat from the team that they were last year. It was 40-0 before I could even blink.
Grayson, what went wrong for Guyer tonight? I mean, I know you and I know Coach Walsh pretty well, what he likes and looks for out of his club. There's a lot of new faces there for that Guyer team, and they're pretty hurt. I mean, what was your impression from Guyer tonight?
My biggest impression from Guyer is that this is once again a team similar. Now, this is not first for Coach Walsh. Last year, they brought in DeSoto to C.H. Collins, and DeSoto rocked them to begin their season 42-13. So Walsh loves to bring in a big non-district team to come and play his Wildcats before they begin district play, to give them, basically a wake-up call before their actual season starts. So in the grand scheme of things, this game doesn't hurt Denton Guyer and their overall chances of making the playoffs. But my biggest impression of this Denton Guyer Wildcat squad after just one game against Toledo is that they've got a lot of questions to answer, and they have a lot of stuff to figure out. And they've also got they honestly haven't even seen their best team take the field yet, because going into tonight, less than 2 weeks ago, they see their starting defensive tackle, Grant Mahone. He fractures his vertebra, unfortunately, and he's out all season, Oklahoma State commit. And then they turn around and they have a scrimmage against Euless Trinity last week on the 24th, and their starting running back, Kadrick Cobbs, has a lower body sprain. I'm not sure where. I'm going to guess his ankle. They didn't exactly confirm, but he suffers some sort of sprain, and he's now out for the next 2 weeks. He's not even going to be playing for the next 2 games. So Denton Guyer did not see their best team take the field. They didn't even see their best player, Cobbs, take the field. But still, they've got a brand-new quarterback in Eli Stowers, who's never played a lick of Texas high school football in his life. He's a sophomore, played his first game of football today, of high school football, and he takes on basically the best team in 5A in Aledo. And so I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, they lost 40-0, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it was definitely a learning experience for a Denton Guyer Wildcat team that is completely different from their 2017 squad. And I think John Walsh is going to have to just feel things out, and this team's just going to have to learn as their season goes along, and they're going to have to find an identity.
We know about Jace McClellan. What did you think about Jake Bishop in the passing attack for Aledo? Are they a pretty balanced offensive squad?
I think they're definitely balanced. Jake Bishop is a general of that offense. He can take some shots, and he also, kept it safe at some points, but he knew when he needed to go deep, and he took basically what the Denton Guyer defense gave him all game long. He never forced a pass, and yeah, Jake Bishop looked incredibly solid, and he was going to his man JoJo Early all night long. Early had 2 touchdowns himself, and he was looking very good as well.
Grayson Nolet on the line. He was on the call for the Aledo Bearcats and Guyer ball game earlier today. Guyer falling in that game 40-0. Grayson, going forward, what do you expect Denton Guyer to kind of look at it in terms of trying to kind of go into their next game with a little chip on their shoulder? They got another tough matchup with Cedar Hill on their horizon.
They do. That Cedar Hill matchup, it's not going to be as tough as this Aledo matchup in my eyes. But kind of like I was saying earlier, I think John Walsh and company, they're just going to have to definitely find an identity for this team. Last year, it was their defense and running the ball with Kadrick Cobbs, and I feel like once Cobbs returns to the field, that needs to be their main focus, and I think it will become their main focus, is just letting Cobbs take a majority of the load on the offensive side of the ball, while also letting your new quarterback just learn what it means to play in this state in high school football as the season goes along. But then you just hope that defense, they lost a lot of big names last year, guys like Arian Bott and Dylan Borey, a middle linebacker, that they just need to feel out and just get that defense back to where it was last season. So I think that if Cobbs is as good as he was last year, and if that defense can step up the way that it did last year, they're going to be just fine.
Now, Grayson, this is Heckma Harrison here. Let me ask you, was there ever at any time in this ball game that Guyer looked like they were threatening Aledo?
Yeah, absolutely. And now it wasn't very much in the first half. In the first half, there was basically nothing to be offered for Guyer's offense. But in the second half, they threatened a couple times, and they even got inside the red zone. And then they were probably it was like 3rd and goal at the 10-yard line. And this quarterback, Eli Stowers, tries to throw basically an out route to his tight end. Would have been an easy touchdown, but a safety steps right in front of it, took it back 98 yards, and that was the closest they had got to threatening. So there were a couple times, especially in the second half, that they almost scored, but Aledo just wasn't having it.
Big-time win for Aledo on the road against Denton Guyer. Grayson, thanks so much for calling in. Have a great drive home.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Grayson Nolet on the call for Aledo Denton Guyer. That's a strong Aledo team. They're going to have a lot of success.
You could say that.
I think you definitely could.
I think they might go to another state championship.
You really think so?
It makes sense why Guyer had such a good second half, because I don't think Bishop and McClellan and some of these guys were even taking the field in the second half.
Wow.
Right. And that's the thing about Aledo and teams like Aledo, what they have, it travels, right? Mm-hmm. Front line, their offensive linemen, running game. So any weather, wherever you go, you got to know that McClellan is going to be there, and he's going to be a stud for 4 quarters. A guy like that, he doesn't do anything but get stronger as the game go on. So these guys are scary good.
It's scary. He gets better as the game goes on, and he still had 102 yards in the first half. Didn't play in the second half whatsoever.
No need.
From one big-time game in the North Texas area to another, this one a little bit more wild than that 40-0 score. Now we are joined by the sideline reporter for Highland Park, Paige Schnorbach. Paige, first off, a pretty crazy scene right there as the game delay is continuing with no stadium lights. Paige, tell us what's going on at Highlander Stadium.
Kyle, first off, I want to say we miss you out here.
Oh, thank you.
Liar.
Second off, absolutely. We are sitting here. First off, the visitor side lights went out and followed right behind by the home side lights, and we haven't heard anything. There seems to be no end in sight. It's been about 10, 12 minutes right now, and the players on each team are just trying to keep loose. They're running up and down the field. They're stretching, but it's giving them a nice moment to get hydrated because cramping has been, unsurprisingly, a really big problem in this game thus far.
Paige, Zach Wolchuk here. How's Chandler Morris performing? I know we big shoes to fill with John Stephen Jones now at Arkansas, but Chandler seems like he's having a solid night.
Chandler's having an unbelievable night. If any Highland Park fan was worried about John Stephen Jones leaving, they're not worried anymore. He has proven himself to be equally dangerous on passing and running. He can move his ball the way he wants, and there's been times that they've been under pressure. They went down at one point with Rockwell taking the lead. And he was totally calm, cool, and collected. I actually was telling Miles and Eric over here that he made an unbelievable touchdown pass, and he came off the field, and people were congratulating him. And he said, no, that was fine, but I'm breathing too heavy. I need to condition more. He is clearly his biggest critic, but I think that's what's going into making him such an unbelievable player.
What a football guy Chandler Morris is. What about my boy Prince Dorbah? Has he put his imprint on this game defensively? Because that Highland Park defense has surrendered 35 points. There's still 10 minutes to go in that game.
Yeah, they came out stronger at the beginning of the game, 21-0. The defense was on a roll, but Rockwall is also just a great team. Prince Dorbah has been key, though, to some of those stops. He's making a name for himself, as he did last year, on this defensive side of the ball.
Hey, Paige, do we know what the UIL conditions are for a game like this if the lights go out or weather-related? How long are they going to have to, to keep the kids there in a delay?
I have no idea. I didn't even get a chance to really look up that information before I had to jump on a call with y'all.
Yeah, okay. That's outstanding. I mean, live report here from Paige Schnorbach. Paige, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you'll get back underway here in the next couple of moments.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Paige Schnorbach, sideline reporter for Highland Park. And a crazy scene there, guys, is Paige is not having to do any sideline reporting right now because the game is under a light delay with no lights in the stadium. Have you seen anything like that ever, other than maybe the Super Bowl game?
I was going to say Super Bowl, Ravens, 49ers,
New Orleans.
There was an issue there.
Yeah,
but
and the 49ers came back in that one. Made it interesting.
Didn't win.
They didn't win.
But it wasn't close. It wasn't as close of a game as this one is.
No, absolutely. And you wonder if Highland Park, I mean, they do have the lead, as you mentioned, so why would it be something that they would want to do? But, man, this is sort of unheard of, and that's a great question by you asking Paige, wondering what the heck is the protocol for this? How late do you go? If the lights don't come on, do we reschedule? Are we playing this thing tomorrow? What are we doing here?
Someone knows, right?
Somebody has to know.
Someone knows.
Somebody has to know.
But I think that aren't those stadium lights on like a timed thing? Like it's a time thing.
Well, someone messed up the time this week.
Somebody forgot to set it from off season to in season.
Yeah,
that's what actually happened, and I'm almost certain that's probably the case. Is that timing was there?
They're still on lacrosse time there.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Paige isn't joking though. Chandler Morris, 3 rushing touchdowns, 89 yards on the ground to go along with 304 yards and 2 touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns, nearly 400 yards of total offense.
I got to ask you guys a question. I mean, I've watched this Highland Park team destroy other teams for a long time, and I wanted to know, what is it about that program and the structure that they have that allows them for that next man up mentality to thrive? Because everyone's thinking that the quarterback position, it was over after Stephen Jones.
I have one word that comes to mind, and I wonder if it's the same one as you're thinking, Zach, but discipline.
Discipline.
That's one big word in that Highland Park program that Coach Randy Allen has instilled in every single one of those Scott's players is discipline and being able to have that next man up mentality, but also do the work behind the scenes before that even happens, so that whenever that opportunity does come, they're ready for it, because the guys before it them have done the same exact thing. For instance, they also lost to Cade Sawstad. Cade Sawstad, one of the top receivers really in all of the 5A level, and I would even venture to say in the state of Texas. He was a big reason why they won that championship game against Manville last season. And I mean, it hasn't, the passing game, 304 yards already for Chandler Morris. It hasn't necessarily dropped off, even without their top receiver, their top quarterback.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's always that next man up mentality, and that discipline goes along with it.
I just think that says a lot about the program itself.
Definitely.
There's always going to be a drop off. Like looking at the Alito team, if this kid next year when he goes off to Oklahoma, well, he's just a junior. Okay. So 2 years from now when he leaves, if they have another guy come right behind him that does the same thing, it just says more about the program itself. And so I just had to ask a question.
Yeah, I think it's attention to detail.
Really?
It's the New England Patriots of high school football. That really is what it is. I mean, Coach Randy Allen has those guys so focused, so locked in. They tackle well. They do the little things right, and that's how they're able to beat teams. It's a lot like Allen and 6A. Both those teams perennial state champions. Highland Park and 5A, Allen and 6A. They're not going to beat themselves. You are going to have to come out and beat that team, and if you make a mistake, they'll make you pay, and that's what the good teams do.
Well, and I wonder about Chandler Morris. Was this something that you guys anticipated in terms of him running on the ground, not throwing the football, but his rushing ability? That was something that was known.
3 rushing touchdowns. I didn't anticipate, but you definitely knew that this kid had wheels. I expected him to have a really good year. But man, he's come out and played like a star tonight.
70-yard touchdown run to get things going was pretty incredible.
He can run the football. He gives a lot of options to that offensive coordinator at Highland Park. And looking at Chandler Morris, and he had a game last year where he had 4 rushing touchdowns in the first half at the JV level. Came in, played the varsity game that next day, and I think he had another rushing touchdown that day as well before he even had a passing touchdown. So he can run the ball.
Looking at the stream here, it looks like we have lights on in the stadium. I don't want to say for sure, but it looks like I'm seeing lights on. Are you seeing lights on?
Looks like lights are on.
Lights are on. Maybe
Friday night lights.
Maybe we are going to get some game action here.
Well, it looks like it.
My goodness.
It was almost a 25-minute delay at Highlander Stadium. The lights are back on, at least on the home side, it looks like, and they're going to play through it. So we'll give you an update when we come back after the break. We'll go through some of those highlighted games, talk about some more players to watch here in the 2018 season. Whataburger Friday Night Stars coming back in just a little bit.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for...
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway, it even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the #2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cool Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather.
One more big segment to go here at Whataburger Friday Night Stars. It is Friday Night Stars Overtime Edition as we bring you the final scores and updates from around the North Texas area. Here from Frisco, Texas, Kyle Yeomans alongside Heckma Harrison. Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo alongside as well. Boys, big-time games, big-time results, and we've seen a lot more games go final. Still some underway or continuing throughout the night as Highland Park and Rockwall. We've talked about that game quite a bit throughout the earlier sections of the show. Rockwall turning the ball over. Chandler Morris and the Scotties are threatening inside the red zone. They lead it 42-35. But let's go through some of those other final scores here in Friday Night Stars Overtime, starting with Denton Ryan and Mesquite Poteet. Eric, tell us about that one.
Denton Ryan and Mesquite Poteet. All right. Well, Denton Ryan came out, and, well, boys, they looked good tonight. Poteet, they were hoping for, I mean, it was a tough matchup for Poteet from the jump, but 28-14, Denton Ryan gets the victory. And when you look at the stats of this game, you get a chance to look at Ryan and what they do offensively. You can see, my goodness, what is his name? Hennigan?
Ian Hennigan.
Ian Hennigan.
Coach's son.
Yeah, he threw a touchdown pass, but the rushing attack, man, my gosh, they had one guy go for 70, one guy go for 49, another guy go for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was Drew Sanders. I know we mentioned him earlier. He had 2 touchdowns tonight to put it away for Denton Ryan.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at a guy that's 6'5", 230, 40 pounds that can move as fast as this kid. I mean, he's legit 4'5", 4'4". At that size. Denton Ryan is going to be a team to definitely be recognized, to be dealt with. Keep that in mind, man. Drew Sanders, complete stud transfer.
And not a big game for Seth McGowan. I know we were talking about him as a running back. He is an absolute stud. He only had 59 yards rushing, so that Denton Ryan defense was putting the clamps on that rushing attack for Poteet.
Yeah, the Ryan defense, they've got some studs. Deshaun Neal up front, the defensive lineman, 6 foot, 180 pounds, 57 tackles. I think most of their returning starters are in that front seven on defense. So they pride themselves on getting after the quarterback and stopping the run.
Another score for Highland Park. Chalk up another touchdown run for Chandler Morris.
What is that, 4?
4 touchdown runs for Chandler
6
Morris.
total touchdowns, yeah.
49-35 is the score. Outstanding update there. And we've got another update on the phone line. Zach Babb was at the Rowlett and McKinney Boyd game. First off, Zach, thanks for joining us here on Friday Night Stars. It's good to hear from you, buddy. And tell us about what happened with McKinney Boyd and Rowlett. Zachary Babb, are you there?
Babby.
Well, Zach Babb is MIA on the phone line. We were connected. You heard it yourself.
I could hear it coming through.
I know. He was there. Maybe he had us on mute, which I don't blame him for.
He's still marveling at the stadium that he's been in all
my goodness.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
I can't wait to ask him about that stadium.
I know. I knew you were going to ask him about it.
I wonder how the press food was.
Well, Walchuk can't wait to ask him who won the Battle of the Bands.
No. I'm more interested in the
Heckma
student
was
section, baby.
falling over earlier.
It was the one question I was not expecting.
You
Okay,
got to know. Look, a Friday night high school football game. You got the bands, you got the drill teams, the student section. I mean, what goes into making a great Friday
Look,
night of high
after
school
that
football?
question, I am no longer holding on to every word you say. All right, I'm going to wait till the end.
By the way, for those that are tuning in for
Fair
the
enough.
Battle of the Bands competition,
Saxey did win.
beat
We got
Coppell.
confirmation from Jason Thomas on Saxey winning the Battle of the Bands. They did not win the football game, though.
Kicker Caden Davis is the man of the night.
He is the what a player of the night, I think.
63
the Friday night
yard,
star.
63-yard
he is the
field
Friday night
goal.
star.
It keeps extending by 5 or 6 yards.
60. Wow, yeah, it's an unbelievable matchup. And I believe we've got another final score coming in as well with Arlington Martin and Lake Travis. What a matchup that game.
It's a power matchup right
Those
there.
are two of the top programs in the entire state. And Austin Lake Travis, last year, state runner-up to Allen, ends up winning that game 35-14. We've got Ashley Pickle on the line. Ashley was at the game for us here for Friday Night Stars. Ashley, first off, how good is this Lake Travis squad?
Man, I will tell you what, year after year, I grew up down by Lake Travis. They never get bad. It really is unbelievable. Hank does a great job. Hank Carter does a fantastic job with that team, and they look dangerous tonight. You've got players like Card moving over into quarterback. He is a verbal commit to Texas. And then, of course, you've got Wilson that is just unbelievable. Second-ranked wide receiver in Texas right now going to Ohio State. They're dangerous. That was a fun game to watch.
How about Arlington Martin? I mean, on the other side here, we know about Lake Travis and what they're bringing to the table. Arlington Martin, anything positive for them? I mean, on the offensive side of the football, it seems like they had a little bit of success through the air.
Yeah, offensive side, it was a little bit rougher, but you got to remember, I mean, like I said earlier, they had 14 starters that they lost this past year, and they still came out playing really hard. Offense, they seem to struggle a little bit. They had some success in the air, not as much on the ground, but their team really relies on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you look at what Austin Lake Travis was able to do, and they really kind of got out in front early, had that 13-point look up in the first quarter, and then they also put up 15 in the third quarter. What was so special about Lake Travis early on that in those halves that allowed them to put points on the board?
You could tell that they came out, standing over there on the sideline, listening to Coach. He was saying, we got to move fast. We have to get in there as fast as we can. They are very, very quick off the draw. They run a very big hurry-up offense. They are always looking to get the ball into the hands of especially Wilson as quick as they can. Their running backs, Sean Brown-Nixon, fantastic running back for them too. So they're good on the air. They're good on the ground. Really, it's just getting the ball as quick as they can down the field, and they run that hurry-up very well. I think that even though Martin has such a good defense, it did shake them up a little bit that Lake Travis has that chemistry to where they're able to move as quick as they did.
Now, Ashley, I have to ask you, this kid Card, that the UT commit, is he as good as advertised? 3 touchdowns tonight, 238, 19 for 27. Tell me a little bit more about this kid.
I mean, considering last year, he was on varsity as a sophomore playing wide receiver. So to be able to make that transition over, not to mention his obviously they were state runner-up last year. Their starting quarterback got hurt that first drive of that championship game, and he stepped in and threw for over 270 yards. He really is that good. But the big test for Card is definitely going to be next year when he doesn't have Wilson to throw it to. This kid is just unbelievable, and their chemistry is great. They're going to be great this year. Card, we're really going to put him to the test next year for his senior year.
Ashley Pickle on the phone. She was at the Austin Lake Travis and Arlington Martin.
How did
Warriors
Lake Travis travel, by the way, Ashley? Did they have a good crowd?
Oh, they always do, man. The whole band was out here. That band is bigger than any high school band I've ever seen. The crowd was fairly decent, pretty good. All cheer squads. They had their whole production team out here, man. They come out and they're ready to show people what Lake Travis is all about.
So would you say Lake Travis won the Battle of the Bands tonight?
Oh man, it was close. I would probably give it to Lake Travis. Their starting thing on their knees and all that stuff, that was fancy. It was nifty. They came out, and I think they probably won the Battle of the Bands tonight as well, in my opinion at least.
Wow. Lake Travis dominating on both aspects of Friday Night Stars. Ashley Pickle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley.
We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Y'all have fun, guys.
Thanks so much. Ashley also got a chance to catch up there with the head coach of Austin Lake Travis, and we'll have that interview later on here in Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Just another great showing from Lake Travis. I thought that was an Arlington Martin team that could potentially show up against Lake Travis at home, or I guess at UTA, and be able to potentially make that a game, but Lake Travis flexed the muscles again.
Nationally ranked Lake Travis, it's still going to be definitely a big deal going into the playoffs. I mean, these guys are probably head and shoulders above a lot of teams, but their biggest competition right now seems to be themselves.
Well, and they only gave up 28 yards passing tonight. I'm not sure how that's even possible in this day and age.
Right.
But you also look at it, penalties. Both teams had a lot of penalties. Arlington Martin, 15 penalties, 135 yards. That is a great way to lose football games.
No doubt, but I think that's a week one thing. I think you'll see if we're to look at the penalties across the board for most of these games tonight, this week's going to be bad for penalties. A lot of these kids trying to get out there, get those jitters out. You got a lot of kids coming up probably playing their first varsity game.
Right.
So I think that's an excellent point. But penalties week one, I think you'll start to see that kind of clean itself up next week.
28 yards passing, though. My gosh.
Well, you look at that total yards, 416 total yards for Lake Travis compared to just 170 for Arlington Martin. Really dominant performance by the Cavaliers.
And no surprise. I mean, that's a team that's always put up big numbers offensively, and that's another one of those programs like we talked about earlier with Highland Park.
Absolutely.
Plug and play. I mean, those guys are going to be able to find a way no matter who's the coach, no matter who's playing, no matter who's actually on the field. It's always going to be a successful Cavalier squad.
Now, that's phenomenal what she said. The quarterback going down, the quarterback they had last year going down, and here you have this sophomore come off the bench and throw for 270 yards. That means the quarterback of the future was always there, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we'll go to that interview here in just a little bit. A lot of stuff to catch up on in terms of really the entirety of high school football around the area. Guys, as you're looking around these scoreboards and who's gone final so far, what are some of the ones that have surprised you?
Arlington Jesuit.
Yeah.
That's
I completely agree. It looked like Jesuit was going to run away with this one, and Arlington came back and spanked them 55-25. The final there.
Held E.J.
win.
Smith to 82 yards. We know E.J. Smith is an absolute stud. Holding him to under 100 yards is an impressive feat. And it's just crazy because Jesuit's got so many starters returning on offense and defense. 7 on defense, 6 on offense. And you would think that experience would propel them to an early season victory over Arlington, but that just wasn't the case tonight. And credit to Arlington. I mean, my goodness, those guys were 400 yards passing for the quarterback, 7 touchdowns.
On 16 completions. 7 of his 16 completions were touchdowns.
Night.
Yeah, Arlington's got a heck of a passing attack. I mean, you look at, they had 3 different receivers. Charles Brown, 3 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oaklawn Forey, 4 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Trey Cleveland, 6 catches, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns, all averaging over 15 yards a catch. Unbelievable day, or night, I should say, for Arlington throwing the football. And I think if you're the Jesuit Rangers, you got to go back to the drawing board and think, man, we kind of need to refix this secondary a little bit because we got absolutely burned tonight.
And credit to Euless Trinity. They had a tough matchup against Waco Midway, and that was a close game.
Why'd you say it like that?
That was a close game early. That's Kyle's
Waco
alma mater.
Midway.
That was a close game early on. I mean, we're looking at a 9-7 game, and then
Midway was winning that game 7-2 early on. The first score that Trinity had was a safety.
Yep.
And then they just kind of turned it on from there. They flexed their muscles
More
again.
than kind of. 37-7.
Yep.
And looks like they found their running back. That was kind of a question mark for Trinity this year. They lost a lot of their running backs. Oh, my goodness. 193 yards, 3 touchdowns for Theus. Wow.
I tell you what, guys, the Lancaster-Duncanville game. Duncanville starts the year off just like you thought they would, 34-0. I mean, amazing stats for these guys. I mean, I say amazing stats, but sort of pedestrian. I mean, we have 128.
That's average.
That's
average.
Whatever. But they go on a route. I mean, pretty much a shutdown of Lancaster's offense and go on to win 34-0, starting their road to state off perfect.
And then over Ennis and Waxahachie, you had that rivalry game. The 2 new head coaches, Sam Harrell back on the sideline. Waxahachie comes out 54-32. The final there, DJ Hollywood. How about that for a name? Their quarterback, DJ Hollywood.
That's a name right
5 of 7,
Born
above
to be a star.
58, 2 touchdowns. Damani Richardson, their outstanding receiver, 9 catches, 161 yards, 3 scores. Jaden Watson had a couple of touchdowns on his own. But for Ennis, you know they're going to run the football. That's the thing. They are in such an interesting predicament with that offense because I don't think that Sam Harrell's got the personnel there to run what he really wants to run offensively. They've been really just a power eye, run the ball down your throat the last few years. James Harris, 21 carries, under 97 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and Dylan Santos, their starting quarterback, also more of a running threat than he is a passing threat. Not much going through the air, but 126 yards and a couple of scores on the ground. So that's going to be interesting for Sam Harrell. How does he adjust? Because he doesn't have the personnel to run what he wants to run, but do you kind of tweak that then to do what your players excel at most?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting case. You think about what Coach Harrell's been through there as well. It's kind of similar to what Mansfield head coach Daniel Mayberry has gone through as well with the health issues and then coming back to coach at a school that's very important to him. And you know how coaches are in their ways. They never change. They will never change for anybody, no matter what, and that's one of the reasons why they are successful. Is because they don't change on the every whim that they potentially would have in order to try and turn things around. But it does have its pros and cons, and that's one of the cons is if you're not necessarily successful. Sometimes it's not going to go your way, then it might not go your way.
Well, I don't think if you're Ennis and you're Coach Harrell, you jump ship early. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
The offense that you have developed for many years now, and that's been successful. And of course, there's going to be growing pains to start the season. There's growing pains every time, but when you throw, like you said, this has been a completely different offense to what they're running now. It's going to take more than just a season. Hopefully, you see the improvement as the season goes on. But this is a 2-3 year process. I think you got to be patient with Harrell and that Ennis football team.
Yeah, and also you got to look at the fact that they'd still put up 462 yards, put up 32
A lot
points.
of that on the ground, which is their bread and butter, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad numbers.
No.
The defense might be the biggest question
But you got to be able to throw the football. I mean, you just have to be able to throw the football.
That's the issue. Defensively, they gave up 50 points. They're
Yeah.
not a team that's built to come back. They're a team that's built to play within themselves. They can hold the lead. They can control time and possession.
Yeah.
But if they get down multiple scores, then you're going to have problems.
Then that means they can't make mistakes.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right, Eflin.
Every time you make a mistake, it's going to turn around and it's going to bite you. Guys, let's go through some of these final scores. We've got a couple reporters about to call in from that Waxahachie-Ennis game. Nick Laupius should be on the horn pretty soon. And then also Miles Dunklin, who's on the call currently with 24 seconds left. Rockwall just scored in an onside kick to come.
An onside kick, man. This is becoming a trend.
Oh, man.
Between
So
Rockwall and Highland Park.
These are
Rockwall and the
epic
Yellow
freaking
Jackets.
battles, man. Starting the season off for the third year in a row.
This is Friday Night Football, baby.
It's back, and it is better than ever. But, yeah, so we've got some top-notch phone calls on the way for sure. But let's go through some of those 6A scores. Zach Wolchuk, you're our 6A guy. Started off with Aledo Denton Guyer. We talked about it earlier. What's going on there? And let's run down this list.
Yeah, so Aledo all over Denton Guyer, 40-0. We had Grayson Nolet check in with us earlier. A Guyer squad that's really banged up, but you expected McClellan and company for Aledo doing what they do. 102 yards and 2 touchdowns for Jason McClellan, an outstanding running back there. Arlington Bowie, 25-7. They beat Flower Mound. Birdville 31-24 over Keller Central. Huge matchup in Odessa. DeSoto and Odessa Permian. DeSoto going to take on the Mojo, and they get the win. 38-28, holding it down for the DF Dub out there over there in West Texas. North Garland a 38-24 victory over Frisco Liberty. Frisco Reedy knocks off Plano West 46-14. The Wolves still awaiting their first win in over a year. Keller Fossil Ridge 14-10 over Flower Mound. Broken Arrow takes down Mansfield 28-6 in one of those interstate matchups between Oklahoma and Texas. Tulsa Union holding serve. Oklahoma now 2-0 in that series with Texas. Mansfield Lake Ridge, a really good squad there for Lake Ridge. They lose 36-30. Northwest Eaton knocking off Fort Worth Brewer 34-3. Allen all over Mesquite Horn 40-0. A Mesquite Horn team that is a lot better than that, but the Allen Eagles just doing what they do and beat teams into submission. Irving Nimitz 55-28 over Richardson, and Rowlett knocking off Boyd 45-21. And then it comes down to the game of the night so far. Coppell with a 57-yard field goal to win it over Saxe 30-28. We just talked about Arlington beating Jesuit a moment ago. North Mesquite defeating Arlington Sam Houston 22-12. We had Ashley Pickle let us know what happened with Lake Travis and Arlington. Euless Trinity 37-7 over your Waco Midway team. Kyle, I apologize for that.
It's okay.
But a good one between Richardson Pierce and Frisco Independence, 38-37. the final there, points galore left and right, and then Frisco Lone Star, probably the best team among all the Frisco schools, 42-2. They beat a Richland team. So that's just kind of a summary of some of these 6A scores.
Yeah, top-notch games all the way around. You talk about even those blowout games. It gives you kind of an idea of how good some of those squads are, such as an Allen. Like you said, that Mesquite Horn team is not anything to sneeze at.
No. And Cedar Hill, a 57-7 win over John Tyler.
Yep.
Some of these are still rolling in. Arlington Lamar beats Byron Nelson, Trophy Club Byron Nelson, 56-38. And the Colony. The Colony is a team to watch out for. A big win, 56-43 over North Crowley. How about these DISD schools? South Oak Cliff and Skyline in a brawl, 10-7. Sock is back.
Wow.
And they will make some noise this year. Big win for South Oak Cliff.
A lot of good defense on that Sock squad for sure. Final at the 5A ranks, our crazy matchup between Highland Park and Rockwall. Highland Park recovered the onside kick, and they go on to win their 100th straight game against a Texas high school opponent at home.
A lot of drama in that one, though.
A lot of drama. 49-42 was the final score, but the Scotties do end up with the win. Eric, tell us about some of those 5A matchups.
5A matchups, we got a final Birdville over Keller Central, 31-24. Salina put it on Frisco Memorial, 54-0. Denton Ryan, we talked about it a minute ago, 28-14 over Mesquite Poteet. Fort Worth Southwest loses to Frisco Lebanon Trail. That was right here in our backyard at the Ford Center. 28-14, Frisco Lebanon Trail gets the victory there. And then Frisco Liberty falls 24-38 to North Garland. But Frisco Reedy stepping up for the Frisco Stools. I know Lone Star did the same thing. Frisco Reedy 46-14 over Plano West. Little M loses by a touchdown, 34-41 to Justin Northwest. That is my alma mater, so I'm feeling good about that one.
There you go.
I do think my alma mater.
You are the only one that has
We're the
won.
only one in
They're
those
holding
squad,
it down.
right?
Hey, yep, good for you.
Lincoln didn't get the dub today? Really? That was a neck-and-neck game, I thought.
No, it was not.
Unbelievable.
Surprising.
No, it was definitely not. Carrollton
We're all 0-1.
Creekview got smoked 50-0 by Midlothian. Carrollton RL Turner lost 7-33. Fort Worth Trimble Tech put it on them, and then Colleyville Heritage. I know Hegma, you know quite a bit about that school. They won 16-0 over North Forney.
Cam Brown, 3 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown.
Doctor
Cam Brown, as Heckma will call him.
Put some respect on his name. 27-7 Red Oak over Denton Braswell. And let's see, Frisco Continental gets Centennial, 27-6 over Roy City. But I think we have Nick Laupius ready to join us.
We do. Nick Laupius is on the line. Nick was part of that Waxahachie-Ennis matchup where, of course, Waxahachie ended up winning 54-32. Nick, first off, big-time rivalry game. What was the atmosphere like in Ennis?
Well, I tell you what, I got there right at kickoff, a little bit of traffic getting there, but I tell you what, it was electric. It was a lot of fun between those two schools, and I tell you what, that Mesquite team, or that Waxahachie team, I tell you, they're physical and they're big, and they showed that tonight.
Yeah, Waxahachie, 54 points. What was so special about that offense in terms of the Indians? And was DJ Hollywood just kind of masterful in terms of running that offense?
I tell you what, 3 of their scoring plays were 60-plus yards, two of those being running plays, and then one of them was a screen that ended up going for 73 yards and a touchdown. So the biggest thing is that they were able to break off those big plays. It was really the running game that helped out Mesquite so much during that game. Didn't really pass it a whole lot. It was a lot of the ground attack, and it worked out really well for them.
What did you think about the Ennis side, Nick? We kind of realized they struggled to throw the ball a little bit, but that run game was successful. But was it one of those things where they just kind of got too far behind and didn't have the firepower to catch back up?
Yeah, they're down 14-0 early on. Dylan Santos, their quarterback, he's a small little guy, but I tell you what, he's very mobile. And he had a couple of rushing touchdowns, a couple of big running plays, and he was kind of bouncing off some of those bigger defenders. So that was kind of impressive to see the smaller quarterback taking on those big guys. But on the other side, like you said, the passing just really wasn't there. It didn't really click too well. They had a couple of big runs that they were able to break for some touchdowns, but it was just kind of falling behind early on and just not being able to keep up.
You talked about really the big playability for Waxahachie. That's a team that has really relied on the big play over the last couple of years as a program. Now they go up against Mesquite Poteet next week. Do you expect much of the same?
Yeah, probably. Again, I mean, they just looked really sharp to start off, and I think we'll see much of the same, and it wouldn't really surprise me one bit.
I got a question. Zach's been dying to know. Battle of the Bands tonight. Who took that one for you? Was Ennis on top of that at least?
I tell you what, Ennis, they were pretty good. They had a very solid halftime performance. I would give Ennis the Battle of the Bands tonight.
Nice. So they didn't lose all over the place.
I'm surprised by that.
Nick, enough of this. Eric's trying to steal my questions here. Nick, I really want to know, this was a rivalry game. I'm sure the student sections were out in full force. Which one was louder and prouder tonight? That's a lot of hesitation.
To start off the game, Ennis was, but I think for the majority of the game, it was on the Waxahachie side. For Waxahachie to have that Seminole chant that they play almost every down, and so they were playing that, and their student section wasn't getting tired of that. So I think overall the Waxahachie student section took that home.
Outstanding from Nick Laupius. Nick, have a great night. Drive safely on your way home, and thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you next week.
You guys have a good night.
Nick Laupius at Waxahachie in Ennis reporting for Friday Night Stars. Man, he hung up pretty quick there.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to
he couldn't
stop
wait
hearing
until
you speak.
He was like, oh gosh, Kyle's
Got to
talking.
get out of here now.
Got to get out of the way.
We got to beat this traffic home.
10 minutes left in our first ever show of Whataburger Friday Night Stars. And one of the big games that we've talked about all day long, Highland Park, Rockwall. Back and forth it went. Highland Park winning again at home. It's something that Texas high school football fans have been accustomed to for the last decade and then some. And the man who was on the call, Miles Dunklin, is on the phone line. Miles, first off, crazy scene with the lights going out at Highlander Stadium. Tell us about that experience and how that really kind of changed the game.
Well, that was a very interesting thing. Kyle, I've done a lot of games here at Highlander Stadium over the years, a few hundred, in fact, and I've never seen that. And it wasn't that the power went out. It was just the stadium lights, but really, I think it ended up helping the Scots out quite a bit. They were dealing with terrible cramps throughout the game. In fact, at one point, each of their top four corners had to leave the game with cramps. Wow. They were having to send wide receivers onto the field. Finn Corwin had to go out to play defensive back, even though he'd never done it before. And they were taking some haymakers from Rockwall, but that gave them a chance to regroup, get some of their top guys out on the field. Hudson Clark had 2 interceptions tonight, including one return for a touchdown, and they were able to get Hudson back on the field late, which was key because Jackson Smith, the incredibly talented junior for Rockwall, was tormenting the Scots throughout this game, and they were able to get Hudson back on Smith, who still made some plays late, but that ended up helping out the Scots. But definitely an interesting scene here at Highlander Stadium. The students loved it, I'll tell you that, when the lights went out.
Miles, you've gotten to see Matthew Stafford, John Stephen Jones. I mean, you name it lately. The quarterback position in Highland Park's been an embarrassment of riches. I know it's just one game, but where do you think Chandler Morris is going to rank?
Well, I think Chandler Morris, I can't tell you where he's going to rank. It would be very tough for him to have as good a high school career as John Stephen Jones is going to go down as one of the all-time legends of Texas high school football. You just need a lot of good stuff to happen around you in order to have that kind of career. But Chandler, I think the scholarship offers speak for themselves, that he's been able to pick up offers from teams like Clemson, Auburn, before he ever started a game. And you compare that to John Stephen Jones, who didn't pick up an offer until late his senior year. The coaches at Highland Park have had very good things to say about Chandler at all points, but he really showed off his legs tonight, had a very long touchdown run early in the game. He's more of a 4-5 guy, where maybe John Stephen Jones maybe ran a 4-8. And Chandler showed off his legs tonight. He had 4 rushing touchdowns, came through in the clutch, did throw an interception that was returned for a touchdown, but he was very effective. The Scots have an incredibly deep receiving corps. He found 9 different receivers in this game and was very efficient, threw for 338 yards and rushed for 105.
Yeah,
had 6 total touchdowns in his varsity debut.
Wow. Talk about the pace of this game. 856 total yards for both teams. I mean, talk about that pace and calling that game.
It was kind of a herky-jerky pace, to be honest with
Really?
you. The game didn't have a whole lot of flow, just based on it was the first game of the year, so there were some mistakes here and there. And really the game went back and forth. It was all Scots early. As they jumped out to a big lead, they had a 21-0 lead. They led it 28-7 before Rockwall rattled off 28 consecutive points. Rockwall scored with 2 seconds left in the third quarter, and then we're talking 4 minutes into quarter number 3, and Rockwall had a 7-point lead after being down by 21 going into the half. So it was an incredible turnaround, really a game of runs, but Highland Park was able to score 4 of the last 5 touchdowns to be able to take control, and they maintain that streak. They've now won 100 of their last 101 home games here at Highlander Stadium, and Randy Allen can say, as he starts his 20th season at Highland Park, that he's never lost to a team from Texas at Highlander Stadium.
That's an unbelievable feat from Highland Park and the Scots, and it seems like it's an every-year thing now, a big blowout of points and a great back-and-forth game, a shootout, 49-42, the final score, the Scots getting the win. Miles, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Miles Dunklin, who was on the call for Highland Park and Rockwall, an outstanding game there. Another big-time game, maybe not because of the firepower that was going on in terms of the actual scoreboard, but Rowlett at McKinney Boyd in that brand-new sparkling stadium, and we have Zach Babb back on the line. Zach, first off, tell us about that stadium. Zach Wolchuk, I'm stealing your question here, but I do want to know, how's that stadium looking in McKinney?
Oh man, it is snazzy beyond all belief. It's one of the I've had the pleasure of calling some games in a lot of great venues. The Star among them, Eagle Stadium in Allen, McKinney. I'm still debating with myself. It's making a strong case for number one.
Wow.
It is a mighty impressive venue, especially up on press level. There's a few times I was, walking through, felt like I was covering a college game and not McKinney Boyd and Rowlett.
All right, so what was the press food like, Bab? I mean, was there some potato salad up there? I mean, hot dogs?
Potato
What
salad.
were they giving you? I know
disgusting.
Martha would feed us that potato salad over at C.H. Collins.
Oh yeah, it was. You know me better than anyone else there, Zach. I love Martha and the potato salad. So
Always, brother.
But,
always.
You're a sick man.
But no, it was the word falling out of the back of my head. It was very good. It was pulled pork. That's the word I'm looking for.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of pulled pork, but yeah, it was pulled pork and some mashed potatoes and green beans. Then they had raisin cookies.
All right, well, let's focus on the game real quick here, but let's get
You're the
away
one
from
that
the
asked
food.
the question.
I know, but I didn't think that we were going to have.
It wasn't Bab's fault that you asked him
it's
about
fine.
press food.
Hey,
Go ahead,
Bab
Wolchuk.
getting
Get
on
to
press
the
food,
bands.
you got to find a way to reel him back in, or else it'll just go on. But let's talk about Rowlett. I mean, this is a team that put up 45 points. Boyd's a school that's got a lot of young players. What did you see out of the Rowlett Eagles tonight?
I think Chase DePaul at quarterback, if he plays like he did tonight for the rest of the season, Rowlett's going to be just fine. I mean, coming into this game, I didn't really know what to expect out of Rowlett. I kind of had a feeling of how Boyd might be. I knew Rowlett had a strong defense, but Chase DePaul, man, their signal caller, he's one heck of a quarterback, man. He was making the good throws. He had a lot of accuracy. He finished 21 of 31, 232 yards, a couple touchdowns. Really, he should have had a couple more. He had a couple kind of toe-tapping end zone passes that were ruled incomplete just by a hair. If you're moving in another 3 inches, those are touchdowns. And he had kind of one random rough spot where he went 1 for 6 in the middle of the third quarter, which made up, 5 of his 10 incompletions right there in just about a 4-minute span. But he looks really good. They've got some raw athletes on the offensive side of the ball. Guys, you can dump a receiver screen to them, and they break 4 tackles and turn what should be a 3-yard gain into a 34-yard gain. And rushing to Chauncey Amos, their running back there, he can just lower his shoulders and get moving and slide through tackles with the best of them. So, coming in, I think there were a lot of eyeballs on that Rowlett defense, especially with how big their front four are. But they impressed me very much on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, Zach, thanks for calling in. Rowlett 45-21. Have a great drive home, and remember the press food next time, because I know Zach's going to ask about it.
Oh, yeah, I always keep a running list of
there you go. Zach Babb, always talking about the press food, Wolchuk. Gosh.
Just with Babb.
Just with Babb, not with anybody else?
I only trust Babb's opinion when it comes to the press food.
If he likes potato salad, he's not a man you can trust.
Eric doesn't really...
On or off the field, you can't trust Babb if
I just
he
want
likes
to
potato
say
salad.
that I'm disappointed that you didn't ask the question about halftime.
Of the bands.
I wanted to. I just don't want to steal your thunder. I just figured it was coming.
I thought you had it this time.
I was going to be embarrassed if I asked your question.
I stole it from him earlier. He got upset.
There's no way I'm going to do that to
That's
you.
true.
That's fair.
He did get upset early on. But we're running up on time really quick. Rapid fire. Guys, give me your Friday night star of the night.
Oh, Caden Davis.
Caden Davis.
Kicker, 7,000-yard field goal?
483-yard field goal to beat Saxey in the final seconds.
Chase McClendon.
Wow, Chase McClendon, 102 yards in the first half.
Chandler Morris, an outstanding game, not only
6
through the air but on the ground.
touchdowns in his Highland Park varsity debut as a starting quarterback.
But it is the night of Caden Davis.
I think I'm going to go with you. I'm thinking Caden Davis,
Don't let him
57-yard
sweet talk
field
into
goal.
that. You can
no,
you're a man.
That was so easy. That was so
That is
easy.
my
Is that
own
all it's
opinion.
gonna take?
That is all that I need with Caden Davis.
You don't want to go DJ Hollywood,
bro.
Come on.
He's
game-winning
He's
field
literally
goal.
leaving me hanging.
Oh my gosh,
oh
I'm
my
sorry.
goodness,
I'm
we're on
sorry.
camera and he's leaving me hanging.
That's awful.
Oh my
You
goodness.
can't trust this guy.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
can trust Caden Davis.
All
though.
right, it's Chandler Morris, star of the night. Anyways, what a first show. Friday Night Stars presented by Whataburger here from Frisco, Texas, and the Star in Frisco for my outstanding partners, Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and my boy Eric Chiafalo. I'm Kyle Yeomans signing off for the final time. Whataburger Friday Night Stars
We got one more
for
guy.
the end of this first show. But we have one more guy.
We're not done yet.
You got Joe Willis on the phone.
Colleyville Heritage
We got
is on the
Joe
phone.
Willis on the phone.
Forget my sign-off.
Yeah.
Forget your sign off.
Forget
my
the star
sign-off.
of the night. The star of the night's about to be Joe.
Yeah, it's about to be Joe Willis. Joe, how's it going? Colleyville Heritage.
Yeah, it's going pretty good right now. How are you guys?
Hey,
Doing
Coach
well.
Willis. Coach Willis, this is Heckma Harrison. How are you?
Good. Good to hear from you.
Hey, man, good to hear from you, too. I want to tell you, man, I am very disappointed that I'm not seeing you. All right? But I'm so happy that you called in. How was tonight? I heard you guys won 16-0 tonight.
We did. Our defense played great tonight. We had some mishaps on offense, and, we booted the ball around a little bit, didn't convert on a couple of key situations, but defense played great all night and ended up with a shutout.
Ended up with a shutout. Now, I did hear that Dr. Cam Brown did have a big day today.
He did. He had a couple of really big catches, had a touchdown catch later in the game and had a big catch he almost got loose on. Probably would have been a 90-yarder had he completed it.
Wow.
But he had a big night, as always. And we had some kids that played really good on offense, running back wise. It was by committee, but several of those guys did a good job. Offensive line was really good, especially in the second half.
Now, how did you replace Deuce Nesbitt and some of those defensive studs that you graduated, basically?
Well, hard to replace those guys, but we had some guys that, waiting their turns behind them. Of course, Michael Young is back, and
yes.
he's been in there the last couple of years. And Cooper Rowe moved to inside linebacker.
Okay.
We're also using A.J. Castilla there.
Okay.
And we got Ryan Ward worked in there. So we've got some good depth at that inside linebacker position. Our defensive line played really well tonight. And we had some great play out of Jake Fex at safety, too.
Coach, what's the one thing you think you want to improve on most going into week 2?
Well, we've got to do a better job executing on offense. And we had our chances tonight. We had several penalties. We had a drive that was killed by a 15-yard personal foul penalty. The kid was finishing a block, but probably a little too much. But we got to clean all that up, and really, work on when we get on that side of the field and punching it in.
Coach, a great night running the ball like you talked about earlier, but that passing attack, you had 91 yards from your starting quarterback. What do you got to do against South Lake next week to kind of improve on that?
Well, we have to be efficient, and we missed some opportunities tonight. We're going to see on film tomorrow that we were really, really close. We didn't turn the ball loose. We gave up a couple of sacks the second half or in the first half rather, where we had some guys wide open and just didn't get it out of our hands. And that's what happens sometimes when you're dealing with quarterbacks that are inexperienced and haven't started at that level. A lot of nerves, and we were rotating guys around. So, there were two of them that rotated in the first half, and then Trey Flint came in the second half and really played well for us.
Coach, do you have one of those quarterbacks that you think you're going to focus on moving forward, or are you going to continue splitting time?
Well, obviously Trey moved a little bit into the league. Trey's he's a 2-year defensive starter for us as well. So, he's a guy that we wanted on the defensive side of the ball, and we knew we were going to have to use some of those guys both ways. But he kind of pushed ahead. Wasn't perfect by any stretch. He had some plays in there where he missed some opportunities. But we're going to continue to look. And the way I look at it is we've got 3 games in our non-district schedule. And those games don't count for you or against you, really, until you get to the district race anyway. We look at that like a preseason situation. Like the NFL preseason, you don't necessarily play those games with one quarterback. And same here, we're going to find out who our guy is when we get to that district race.
Now, Coach, obviously next week's game against Southlake, you kind of have some inside things on those guys with your defensive coordinator coming from over there. Obviously with a big matchup, inner city matchup, with that rivalry going on, what are you guys? What is going to be the thought process going into a game as big as that for you?
Well, first of all, it's good to have a guy that is familiar with those kids over there, and of course Steve is, and so is Jake. They were over there last year, and but secondly, it's a fun environment.
Yeah.
All week long you have a lot of fun in practice because you like to play those kind of teams, and they're a great program, a great team, a program that we aspire to to get to that level.
Absolutely.
So for our kids next week, it's going to be a lot of energy and excitement. Playing Southlake Carroll. And we just hope to go in there and execute and play our best game, put our best foot forward.
Panther
at the
on.
End of the day, that's what's important. That's exactly right. Panther on, growth mindset.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Panther on. That's my motto, Coach, man. So good luck to you guys. I'm pulling for you all season.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Willis, head coach at Colleyville Heritage, 16-0 win over North Forney. Well, whenever you have a head coach on the line at the end of the show,
we will always make time.
Always make time.
Any head coach who wants to call in, we will make the time.
Every single time. Outstanding from Joe Willis. So let's try this again.
One more time.
At the end of our first ever episode.
Is this deja vu?
Maybe
let me set you up again.
Hey, the music's on.
You can't trust this guy.
Can't trust that guy, but I'm still going to thank him anyways. For Eric Chiafalo, Zach Wolchuk, and Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you next week.